everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. After 5 long years, I'm still here, but with me are my two co-hosts, the current ones, at the very least. Swan and Eric, the Whiskey Butte.
Boom.
Guys,
goes the dynamite.
5 years, man.
5 years. It's crazy. Whew. I don't want to get emotional yet. I got to get more whiskey in me before we get emotional.
You can get emotional.
Yeah, I'm going to
see how emotional you can get right now.
Here's the thing. Do I want to make reference to it or just let it kind of be?
The skin? My skin?
This.
Your skin.
My skin.
Oh, okay.
I skin, you skin, we all skin.
We lost skin talk in the pre
in the interim, yeah. But
just tell them what's going on.
Well, I
Uncle Rico.
I shaved my beard down to a mustache, and I have absolutely no self-confidence right now. So it looks like I'm going through a midlife crisis.
That or you really like Top Gun. It didn't quite work out.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Oh, yeah.
Or you like vans with no windows.
Hey, man. just
it really doesn't look that bad, I'll be honest.
I mean, I don't think it does either, but I just miss having my face covered.
I know the feeling.
Yeah,
I was there. I was there.
I know you do. But the thing is, I know that it's...
took my lashes.
I know that it's coming back real hard here. So.
Oh, yeah, hard, baby.
I had that a little bit even when I was just wearing masks for like 10 hours a day, and then I went to not, and I was just like,
what do I do?
Right. What's going on here?
What do I do? Well, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you so much for being here. But if you have been with us, yeah, no kidding, right? 5 whole years. But if you have been with us since day one and you're still tuning in, God bless you, first of all. But also, thank you so much. This has been the absolute best 5 years of my life, and I've been married for 6. So
you do the math.
Yeah, right. No, that's not true. But. Let me just dig my own grave right here at the beginning of the podcast. By the end of this, I'm going to be served papers. But if you've not subscribed yet, please do so. You can check out the video version of this on YouTube if you want to see what I look like without a beard. You can go do that. YouTube.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast.
It's really sexy, honestly. I'm
I'm
kind of just staring at it. I mean, when you start touching it with your fingers and stuff like that, yeah.
All right. We're already done with the pregame chats.
I know. I was feeling some sort of way. I don't know.
But also go follow us on social media at My Bourbon Pod. You can follow Swan at SwanTBF, and Eric is at Whiskey Mutant. Pretty much just on the Instagrams there. But
yeah.
Also support the show on Patreon. Patreon.com/My Bourbon Podcast. Little as $1 a month. $5 a month gets you bonus content, though.
$100 a month. Perry will glue the hair that's in his garbage can back on his face.
Yes.
I heard Gorilla Glue get mentioned. I get a little crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think that my beard would grow out still if it was covered up with extra hair and glue?
There is literally only one way to find out.
I think that's some science that you need to test out.
How about this? If you pay for
Mythbusters.
If you pay for an entire year's worth of Patreon at the $100 tier up front, I will consider doing that.
Listen, Perry, I don't think you're putting your brain power to work here. We're so close to Halloween. You could just be in a costume from now until the 31st and then tell everybody, oh, we were celebrating Halloween at work today. Hell, you could go ahead and start being Santa Claus. Nobody'd say a thing.
That's Like a reverse Santa Claus?
Nobody would say a thing if Perry was Santa Claus from now until Christmas.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten my turkey costume out yet.
Wear that. Does it got a beard?
It's got the goozle thing.
There you go. There you go.
Swan started out with Perry, you're not using your brain, and I'm trying to figure out if Swan knows what's happening right now.
Just saying, get into some costume, man. That's
just wear a Santa Claus costume for the fucking 40 days.
The word vomit.
Just get in there, man.
Nobody will notice you're Santa Claus.
Eric, now that you bring it up, I realized you were quiet for a really long time before you said something again.
I was trying to put it together.
I feel like you could rock the Santa Claus from now until the 25th of December.
So are you saying that, like, I would wear the fake beard and that would be the way that I cover up the mustache?
Yeah, just you're just until the beard grows back in, just go full Santa Claus. Get you a little Santa Claus beard or something. Find a
and
costume.
No one would say anything about that.
Nobody would say a thing. Nobody would say a word. Not a thing about it.
Not a thing. I think you got it. You could rock it.
Hey, we've struck oil. Stop digging.
Yeah, quit while you're ahead. Great ideas. That Tim bit. Man,
oh, goodness gracious. Well, we normally start the show out with a segment called Flying Blind. This has been going on for almost as long as the podcast has been going on. And I have a little blind flight for these two guys.
Oh, it's been a while.
Three bourbons.
3 bourbons. Okay, so they're bourbons.
They are bourbons.
Swan, say they're bourbon so we get our point.
They're bourbon.
Bourbon. Got
Ding. It. There's a little counter.
So is there
in the corner?
So is there a theme to this, or are these just you just grab these because you were like, I want them?
No, there's a theme, but I need to see. I want to see if you guys can figure it out without me just straight up telling you.
Okay. All right. Ooh.
Doesn't smell real proof heavy, but man, you're using a different kind of Glen, but like mine, it's super oily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grabbed that extra one. It's just black. You can't see it, but it smells.
It is very oily.
It smells like Melted Werther's original. Like,
oh, that tastes so good.
Ooh, is that Heaven Hill?
Wow. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's bakery. Like it's that bakery.
That was incredible.
I'm not even like. It hit me as soon as I tasted that. I was like, "That's Heaven Hill."
Man, well done.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Heaven Hill or Barton, one of the two, but yeah, Heaven Hill makes sense.
Oh, that is delicious. That can't be.
Oh, is that the 7-year?
You are so close.
Not the white label, is it? It's bottled and bond?
No, yeah, it's the 6-year white label.
I was going to say that it's maybe 100 proof. It doesn't taste even 100 proof, though.
Not really, no.
Oh, my gosh. That's better. I've not had that in so long, and that's
I know, right? I think this is from the last bottle that I have of it, too.
Baby.
No.
Oh, well, daddy liked that. Put that in my skin. Damn,
I'm still trying to figure out whether or not people are going to hear the thing that you are referring to. So,
listen,
Patreon, sign up. Yeah, sign up to the Patreon, and maybe you'll understand what Eric is making reference to there.
If you got the Patreon part of it, it'll all click. You'll get it.
B2 is wildly different, but wildly so good on the nose.
Yum.
It's kind of rye, licorice-y.
Yeah, it's a much softer palate though than A is.
Ooh. Are you getting almost like a Fruit Loops thing on it?
I was going to say there's some like not licorice. I said licorice, but I meant Twizzler, like this cherry.
Yeah, that almost like artificially cherry.
Man, 2 is so good. Oh.
Okay. What is that? Yeah, it is soft. Under 100 proof.
Is it wheated?
No and no.
Oh, that's more than that. It does not taste like it's got much proof on it. It's
it's also not more than 100 proof.
It's 100 proof.
It's 100 proof.
It's a bottled in bond. Okay.
I want you to really dig into your brain here.
Is that another Heaven Hill bottled in bond? It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This tastes more like Evan Williams.
Ding.
Because there's this different thing between like the bakery Heaven Hill that you get and then like Evan Williams like white label and stuff like that.
What I get with Evan Williams bottled and bond, I tend to it tends to go more like charcoaly for me for some reason.
There is a note of like dark, like smoky thing on there.
Yeah, but the fruit is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's real different.
Yeah.
It's the artificial cherry. And that's kind of that difference between like I was saying, the bakery spices and then the cherry. Like, man, that's good too. Ooh. I haven't had that in forever.
I like the third. It's getting back into that baking spice kind of thing.
Bring it back, Daddy. Daddy's Bakery is back on the street here.
There's a lot of daddy talk this episode.
Listen, I'd go to Daddy's Bakery. Are you kidding me?
Heck yeah, dude. Oh, what is that? That's like the best. That's like both of these together. Did you blend these together?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Because it smells like Heaven Hilly Bakery, like really good, but then the palate is kind of like bakery with like a drizzle, like a fruit or a citrus drizzle on top of like a cookie.
I will go ahead and say this one is not Heaven Hill.
Okay. It really does taste like a blend of the two to me.
Yeah.
Is this bottled in bond too?
Yes, it is.
Okay. The finish on this is lasts longer than both of those. The finish is so good on this.
For me, it smells like Heaven Hill. I don't know if it's because I just had the other two or what, but
it smells very Heaven Hill like, but it doesn't taste as much like it.
It's not 1792 bottled in bond, is it?
It is. It is not.
Because I've had a lot of single barrels of those, and they do change.
Is this a Wilderness Trail bottled in bond?
It is not Wilderness Trail.
Well, so it's not Wilderness Trail. It's not Heaven Hill. It's not Barton, 1792.
It doesn't have like an overwhelming spice that I sometimes get on Taylor.
It's not Taylor.
But yeah, I didn't think it really was, but just thinking of all the bottled in bonds that are released.
Well, I'll tell you this. Daddy like. and granddaddy like.
Oh.
Okay.
Granddad bonded.
It's granddad bonded. So this is to the best of my abilities a recreation of the very first flight that we ever did on an episode of 10-Bip.
I remember that.
Oh.
The very first thing. So I went back and because I hadn't listened to it in a long time, but it's still fun. Like, it's very different from what we do now. But I went back and listened, and the first thing that we ever drank on the show, Curtis and I were drinking Antique 107. And that was the first time he had ever had that. But then we did a budget bottled and bond battle for the rest of the episode. And I don't have any more of it because they don't make it specifically this way anymore. But the third bourbon, so Heaven Hill 6 Year and Evan Williams Bottled and Bond were both in that flight. But the third one was, at the time, the very old Barton Bonded. which they don't. They have 100 proof version, but they don't have
the one with the wild like banner on the bottom. Yeah,
but they don't have a bottled and bond version of it anymore. So I went with another budget bottled and bond bourbon, which honestly I probably like. If I were to do that now, I would more than likely have gone with Grandad Bonded in there, and I probably wouldn't have done 2 Heaven Hill products together because it's 2 Heaven Hill products. I mean, you're kind of,
Hey, they're different enough, though.
They are
very different.
And I mean, the whole thing about it was, budget bottled and bond bourbons, and we were 2 of us at that time had just gotten out of college, and one of us was still in college. So, we were kind of on a tighter budget than we are now. So it was just kind of something that we gravitated towards at that time.
You were not on a tighter budget. Look at the second episode. What'd you review the second episode?
Okay, to be fair.
That was WLW.
That was the WLW episode. To be fair, though, Curtis, Tanner, and I split that bottle.
Yeah.
And that was the only way that we were able to make that work at that point. Like, there was no chance that I would have been able to drop $100 on that bottle on my own. But you're right, though. I mean, I did kind of put my foot in my mouth with that assertion.
It's just
we
so
can only
funny.
go up from here, guys.
Yeah.
Bottled and bonds at WLW.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
So what was looking back a little bit? What was the first media sample you got sent, or somebody sent you to review? Something that you were like, all right, we got this in the mail, or like bottle sample, whatever.
Bullet sent us just a bottle of their regular Frontier small batch bourbon. I don't even remember how exactly it came about, but like I started talking with somebody on their Instagram, I think, and they were like, "Oh, well, we'll send you a bottle." And so, yeah, I remember Curtis and I reviewed that up in our guest bedroom / office at our old place in Richmond, which is where I did all my podcast stuff back in the day when we weren't recording in the living room. But yeah, I think Bullet was the first. I could be wrong, but that's the first one that I remember specifically. So media wise, at the very least, there could have been a sample that somebody else, like a friend, sent for us to review, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
But anyway, yeah. Back then, also we ranked these. Like said, which one was our favorite, or which one we would have preferred, and it was blind back then too. But at the time, I mean, the Heaven Hill 6-year was my preferred of the budget bottled and bonds. I have a hard time not leaning towards the old Grandad now, though.
312 is my order.
Yeah, I'm in the same way.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
312. I like the high rye. I've gotten to the point now where I almost prefer a good rye whiskey to bourbon.
I believe that. I don't doubt that that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Right now, Mr.
I think it's that finish, man, on the Grandad. Like, there's just...
That's a big part of it, for sure.
Pawpaw's just hanging out with you for a while.
Oh, he's hanging.
Yeah, he's hanging down there. I mean, he's got his basketball and everything.
It's rich. It's got a full, body to it and a finish. And I know that some people, when they first get into whiskey, they see those high rye and they taste them and they're like, "Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do this." And I get it. It can be aggressive if you're not used to jumping from 80 to 100, and then also taking a grain that's known for being softer it's gonna strangle you a little bit,
Yeah. I'm just I don't know. I didn't have anything to really segue into right there, but I'm also like starting to get a little sentimental thinking about everything that we're going to talk about on this episode. But
you remember the first episode that I did, Barry?
The first episode that you did,
first one I was on.
It was called "This Is My Bourbon Finder," but I don't remember what we reviewed. Was it the new riff?
We were in Kurt's living room.
That's right, yeah.
And we reviewed a flight of the new 116.8 rare breed, the 112.8.
Oh my gosh.
And I think the 108.7, the old release.
Yeah.
I found a little bottle of it, and it was right in that sweet spot of they were transitioning between the 112 and the 116.
That's right. Man. Because they still had the old bottle, too, for rare breed.
Yeah, for a while they put out the old style bottle. They would put the new proof on it and just change the wrap at the top.
Yeah.
So they had like a transition bottle that I'm not gonna lie, I straight up chugged that stuff. I loved it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because we all came to the conclusion, like, as much as it's cool to have this old bottle, this new one's really good. So,
yeah, no, I remember that for sure.
Yeah. But
you know what's funny? Now that you mention that, that means that the both of you all, your first episodes were Wild Turkey. Because Eric and I reviewed Russell's 13.
Yep.
On his first episode. That didn't even click.
The funny part was, I remember going over and you guys were, I'm not going to say like seasoned and knew 100% kind of where you wanted the show to go, but it was like episode 32, 33, something like that. So you knew what you were doing, right?
I don't even know if it was that far in.
Either way, I remember holding the Rock Band mic and I'm like, like shaking, and like breathing into it a little too heavy and like moving it in and out from my face and like trying to get comfortable on Kurt's couch. Not that he had like a bad couch or anything. I'm just like nervous, and it was interesting. And then I got into it and I realized like, oh, I know somewhat what I'm talking about. Like I could learn a few things, but I feel like I've got it enough under my belt that like I can really kind of understand and have a conversation.
It was episode 13.
Yeah,
13.
Yeah. I just found it as you were saying that.
I knew it had a 3 in there somewhere.
You're like 30 episodes in and all this.
It felt like it. But no, it was interesting.
Like I was kind of saying, it's a lot different now than it was back then. It's just, it is a normal and natural evolution for things to not end the same way that you began them. That sounds like we're ending the show. We're not. But there's just been a lot of change since episode 1. And, one of the things that I'm very, very thankful to, we'll get to what we've been drinking in a minute. But one of the things that I'm very thankful for is that despite there being all this change and, internally and externally, 2 things. One, you guys, the listeners, you all, not just guys, y'all have always stuck with us. Like you have been open to the change that we have had to go through for the past 5 years, but also that there are people who are willing to jump on when I need them. Like, I mean, you two both are prime examples of that. I needed you two at very different times in the podcast, but you were both willing to be a part of it and enthusiastic about jumping in when I asked. And I mean, I feel like that's a pretty rare thing to find with people, that they would be willing to dedicate as much time as this requires, and as much energy and patience and everything. So I'm very thankful for the both of you all.
Thank you.
early sentimentality.
Thank you,
but
man.
Yeah.
There's something about you that like people just gravitate towards you too, and that's just, I know we're getting emotional here, but yeah, it's just you, man. Like
it's the mustache, right?
I want to get up all in that. Even before the mustache, there's you just got a presence, dude, and you're just fun, and you make things fun, and I think that's why me and Swan have fun doing this, and that's why we did that. So,
I've been picking on Perry since way before the podcast.
Oh yeah. When Swan and I were in college together, I mean, it was just endless.
What was the worst? Did you ever prank him?
Yeah, I think the worst thing that I ever did to him is I found out.
Oh my gosh!
in 2D art, I found out that he had recently put out some work on Bandcamp. It was a full album, and the teacher that we had, great lady, liked her, a little eccentric, but just genuinely nice. And she would always play music. It would always be Pandora, something to just kind of zone out to. And so Perry is not the most punctual to some of these classes, right? At least the first couple of weeks.
Perry he was punctual?
Yeah, well, and moving past that. But I looked at her and I was like, hey, the guy that just joined the class late, because you also came in a week after classes had started.
Well, that was because I didn't like the professor that I had for that class originally, and so I transferred over to Julie's class.
Exactly.
God bless her. She had a horrible stroke a couple of years ago.
She did, but she is just a fantastic woman, man.
She's a wonderful person. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But, I got her to play Perry's album, so he comes in, starts putting his book bag down. He's like,
I was like, I think my first reaction was, what is this song? It was not anything that she had played in class before, stylistically too. And then it just slowly dawned on me that it was the opening track for that album. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to sit here and
the whole album.
Were you trying to see what people were thinking? Were you watching people's reactions to the song?
No, because I was so anxious. It was that thing of it felt like I had forced somebody to listen to my music or something like that. And so I felt responsible for it, even though it wasn't my fault that it was playing.
Well, the best part.
And so I just felt like I had eyes just stabbing into my back, watching me the entire time, thinking, this is your fault.
My favorite part about it is our mutual friend, Maddie, at the time, and I were both like, let's do this. It's hilarious. Let's get in on this. And we had only known Perry for a couple of days.
Barely. Swan was not Swan yet. Swan was still Sean at that time.
Yeah. So I just I'm this dude that just joined class lately, let's just pick on him. He seems cool. It was amazing. I
because I had already been through 3 years of college. That was supposed to have been my senior year had I stayed at my original institution. And so I already had the disadvantage of being a little bit older and a little bit more removed from everybody else. And so
I brought you right back in.
Oh, you absolutely did. You dragged me back into the depths of hell.
Well, and it was funny too because like we had a significant amount of classes for at least the first semester I was there. So if it had not worked, I would have had like
the first
three,
of two.
Yeah, I would have had like 3 classes, and these were studio classes, so like an hour and a half to 2 hours, I believe, of just sitting next to this person who I just publicly humiliated by playing his album in front of people. Had this not worked,
you know what's great though is that I mean, you all know me now, but even then I was just kind of like roll with the punches. I was like, I just gotta, whatever.
I feel like this is the beginning of an anime. Like
it does kind of feel like that, yeah.
The
like
two rivals that become friends.
Yeah, this is Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah. And then there was also the many times that I was just like, "All right, come over to so and so's house. We're gonna have a couple of drinks," and everybody is like mingling and having fun. And then there's me sitting on the floor with my back to the couch, and most of the fifth of Fireball gone, and I'm just looking at Perry like, fancy seeing you here. And he's like, I've been here for an hour and a half. And I'm like,
So you do remember that.
Yeah.
Because I've been under the impression that you didn't remember that for a long time.
Picturing Swan in a floor holding Fireball is amazing to me.
Well, tell them what you were drinking. You were having Wild Turkey Honey.
We were drinking Wild Turkey Honey and Jim Beam Honey at that point. Yeah. So and loving it and loving life.
Dude, you put Wild Turkey Honey in a freezer and you take it out.
I've not done that yet.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
I'll have to give that a shot at some point.
But you act like I remember the whole thing, Perry. I just remember one time specifically in someone's apartment and looking at you on the steps, and I'm just like, "Oh, Perry's here."
We only ever went to. Nobody cares about this. Anyway.
But anyways.
The point of the
point of conversation solely just
each other for a long time.
Yeah. Perry somehow looked at the kid that was coddling a bottle of Fireball and said, Bourbon Podcast, get him on. And it worked out.
You found me Bourbon for a long time.
You're the founder. You still are the founder.
I don't advertise that.
A few special people.
Special people. I take care of my people.
Killing me, bro. First bottle you ever found me was Elmer T. Lee.
Damn.
Yeah. Elmer T., some Weller, WLW.
How fast did it take you to find an Elmer T. Lee right now?
Now?
Right now.
No telling. But at the time, I remember I asked, who was it? Chad from It's Bourbon Night was like, I messaged him, I was like, you need anything? And he was like, I'm looking to get this. And I found it in about a month, and I texted Perry at the same time. I was like, do you need one of these? And he's like, yes. I had no clue what it was.
I don't even remember what it was either.
Not a clue. Because I got a bottle of Weller 12 and that, like almost
Blanton's.
Same time.
I don't think it was Blanton's. Because even back in the day, I was never really a Blanton's stan. It was just kind of like nice to have around. Shoot, what was that? I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me later. But maybe we should.
Podcast.
Yeah, we should back up a little bit and ask you guys what you've been drinking recently.
Old Granddad 114 and the Middle West straight rye whiskey, the Pumpernickel.
Yes, that Pumpernickel rye is so good. Have you had it at Cast Strength?
No.
That's one of the. That was one of the samples that Middle West sent.
I would love to do a pick of this stuff. It is so fall-oriented in flavor.
Me too.
I could see this just making a killer cocktail. You get it at Cast Strength, make it the highlight of the drink.
Surprise, surprise, I can't ever find anything around here.
We're going to clean that up one day.
Yeah, one day.
Or we could put all the bottles on the floor, and next time you send us a blind flight, instead of picking 3 things that are somewhat correlated, we could just do a ring toss.
That's a really funny idea.
Perry throws a ring, 3 rings back there, and it's just like whatever happens.
Yep. I like that idea. I think
there's like a half drunk beer from like a year ago sitting there.
Do you guys want a really flat and stale Goose Island Bourbon County Stout?
Yeah. No,
I think it's got a film a mold on top of it too.
Get my penicillin and my sample all in one. I like it.
There's some wax in this thing. No, that's not wax.
Eric, what about you?
What about me? I had a little bit of my Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, the old one, the other day. I paired it with a Snickers donut. Yeah, it was amazing. I tagged Peggy No Stevens in it, get her attention. She liked it. That's all she said. Did nothing else. So the battle has begun. Then April, and my oldest Addison went over to see Perry and Lucy and Eden at Eden's second birthday party, and I had a little bit of Curly that Perry brought that I haven't. I literally have Curly sitting over there, but it's like I have like two single barrels over there, and I don't know, I haven't went to it in a while, and I saw that sitting there, and so I poured up some Curly.
You know, we're
at a 2-year-old's birthday party, and I loved it.
I mean, I had a good time.
Yes, it was fun.
But
I mean, at 2 years old, it's just as much for you as it is for them, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bouncy house.
Yep.
For the kids. Did
you partake?
I didn't know.
I thought about it.
No, I probably would have launched myself into the small creek behind my mother-in-law's house if I had, or one of the children. Probably would have launched one of the children.
We thought about that. We were going to jump off the balcony down onto that and do the launch pad.
Yeah.
Imagine me launch padding a 1-year-old off of that thing. Be crazy.
One of the little towhead blonde kids that were on the...
That one dad had twins. Yeah, he was like, he got twins going everywhere. I was like, let me take care of one of those twins for you. I just launch them away. He's like, finally, I can finish my beer.
Man, I would love to see you at the top of a balcony and be like, I'm sending that sucker to the moon.
Dude, I thought about it. I was going to elbow drop. Little kids, I don't care. It was fun, though.
Yeah.
Nice little party.
It was a good time.
April had a good time. Addison had a good time. The boys stayed home, which I was
for the best
grateful for. Yeah. I got to actually chill and hang out a little bit.
It was it was a lot of fun having you guys there too. Maybe we'll talk about some of this off air.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've had last couple of days.
I also brought the Willet rye.
All that,
to that party. I had some of that. That is such a subtle rye. Like it and even at, what is it, like 108 proof or something?
Yeah, 108 to 111 is usually like the range.
I mean, it just doesn't drink like that at all. I think that's probably one of the bigger highlights recently, but I also did this live stream last week, which if you've not watched yet, go and watch. I tried to figure out what the best old-fashioned with a low-proof bourbon was, and I was really surprised by the results of it. It shocked the heck out of me, but if you've not watched that yet, go and check it out. Hopefully the audio for it will be up in the podcast feed before too long as well, but that's going to be an ongoing series for a little while, trying to figure out kind of the best proof for a bourbon in an old-fashioned, and I'm sure eventually I'll have to get to a rye series as well.
I'm curious to see if when you find the best one under like 100 proof, compare it to OGD 114, if you're going to be like, oh, nope, throw this out. Like it's almost like that Parks and Rec episode where they make the two burgers. You've carefully crafted this wonderful thing, and then there's just
Ron Swanson goes, this is a 80-20
burger. 80-20 beef on a bun.
This is a burger. I made it on the grill. Enjoy.
I'm just curious, because I feel like for me, it would definitely be that way. That 114, 110 area. Oh, I love it. Love it.
Are you going to do a hazmat one?
I don't have enough hazmat bourbon to...
What if you made one out of this hazmat apple brandy?
Oh, I would love to do that. We still haven't opened that, have we?
No.
Oh, man.
I gotta open it. This fucking wax job is just so stupid. So dumb. So stupid.
I like apple brandy, so I would gladly taste that and just see, because I've had enough of it.
It's aged in tequila barrels.
I haven't had that.
It's wild. Just all over the place. Insane.
145.1 proof.
Amazing.
Yeah, we need to get into that.
The thing is, like, I realized after that stream that I need to do like smaller old fashions for the next stream. Because I mean, and the thing is, I didn't finish all 4 of the ones that I made, because by the time that I got through the stream, I was like, I just can't do another one
it's
of these.
It's so hard to make a small old fashioned though.
I mean, if I just cut the ingredients in half, so it's 2
it seems
instead
like
of 4.
It's like nothing in there. You didn't put ice in it, did you?
No, I did.
Okay, I feel like something so small with a little bit of ice would be so hard to.
Yeah, I kept it really, really simple. I preferred brown sugar instead of just the white sugar in old fashions. 2 types of bitters and bourbon.
Yeah, you could probably pre-make them all up and just put them in the fridge, and then just have your ice ready to go right there and just pour it straight over.
I mean, that's essentially what I did. Like I pre-made all.
Work. I didn't know.
No, I pre-made all 4 of them, and I just brought them out, and added the ice afterwards. Otherwise, it would have been just really, really watery and disgusting. So glad I didn't do that.
I probably would have, because I'm an idiot.
So 5 years. We're not going to do news this week. I feel like this is our chance to be a little bit...
This is the news. Tim Bip turns 5 years old.
Yeah, our chance to be a little retrospective and introspective and everything. But you guys came on, like I was saying earlier, came on at very different times in the show, and from very different points of view as well. Like, Eric, you were a listener before you were a co-host, and yes. Swan, you were like kind of a behind the scenes producer almost in some ways, because I mean, you were finding bottles for us to review, you were finding, you know, kind of helping us shape some of the stuff that we were doing as well. I would regularly go and ask you, you know, what do you think's working about the show right now? What do we need to improve on? And you know, it was always a very honest feedback that I was given at that point too. But I mean, you guys have you've both left what I would just call lasting impressions on the DNA of the show at this point. But I'm curious, like, you know, what are you guys? Eric, I've asked you this question 1,000 times, so you're okay to kind of we can copy and paste answers in here. But as far as like the fabric of the show over the past 5 years, what have you noticed as being like the biggest change, or you know, what have been some of your all's favorite parts throughout it all?
I think the biggest change that I've noticed has gone from not even first episode to where we are now, but there was a midpoint between when the first couple of episodes where it felt like 3 guys hanging out having drinks. So we got to the point where we're like, oh, brands are sending us stuff. It's like we've got to really kind of get into the whiskey and know this and that, and then we had to learn how to kind of incorporate not only like a serious review with genuine facts and news and interesting things that were factual, but not lean into that so heavy and get back to being goofy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, especially once Eric got on, it was just like, all right, cool. We've really found our groove as far as like, we can be factual. We can give tasting notes. We can really get into it. But we can be just as goofy and individual and ourselves as we were on episode 1. You know, I mean, because if you go back and listen to it, it really does feel like you're like, all right, cool. You know, maybe I'm traveling. Maybe I'm in the car. Maybe I'm, you know, just listening while I clean the house or fold some laundry or whatever. But I feel like if I were to pour myself a Glen right now and sit down, I'm hanging out with 3 of my friends. And it's gotten back to that, but now we know how to converse about all the facts too.
There's a good balance between it all, and I mean that comes with the territory. And I said on the first episode that this was going to be our journey through learning bourbon. And I mean, if nothing else, like I have a time capsule almost of my weekly journey through learning about bourbon over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I've given myself that opportunity to like go back and the crazy thing too, and I'll tell on myself, I completely forgot that I ever said this, but episode 1 of the podcast, I said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, I find the most well-balanced bourbon to be Woodford Reserve. A thing that I actually said on this podcast. And now I don't even know if I really have that opinion. Like, that's not something that I have kind of in my arsenal ready to list out. But, you know, like at that point it was, because there are so many different flavors and people can find different things to latch onto and, you know, all that. But it just is, I never would say that now. That's so far out of my lexicon these days.
What would you say it is now?
I honestly don't know if I have an answer for that.
Okay.
Jim Beam Bonded.
Maybe, oh man, I haven't had Jim Beam Bonded in so long. It's, I mean, we went through that period where that was like something that we were talking about a lot, especially with finding those older bottles. I don't know, maybe Elijah Craig, maybe. But even still, I'm super hesitant about putting that label on it.
Right. But I think that's a good marker for growth. Like, it just shows, you know, how you've changed.
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, it did not take long for me to latch on to Elijah Craig and the Heaven Hill profile. Yeah. And for that to kind of be what I lean towards, I guess. I mean, I know that I love Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in the same way that Chad and Sarah love Booker's. Like my Elijah Craig, or my Booker's is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it does.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or Knob Creek.
Yeah, Knob Creek single barrels, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
I
get real emotional right now.
Yeah. That's, but even still, like Knob Creek was the very first barrel pick I ever did, too. So I mean that's I think somewhere kind of lodged away in my brain that, you know, that association of like, oh, this is special to me. Like I have a sentimentality towards this brand, this product. And so, you know, not somewhat intentionally, but also maybe, you know, that's somewhere in the back of my brain poking around too. But Eric, I know that you have said that like just the kind of format of the show just being what it is now, it kind of took the windy road that it did over the past 5 years. But now, I mean, it's absolutely not just a straightforward, like, oh, bourbon and only bourbon podcast at this point.
Yeah. And like, and as I was listening to Swan, like, I think one of the things that he mentioned that really hit for me was, being able to like listen to this. Like I would want to listen to you guys. Not normally I want to listen like when I'm at the gym or when I'm driving because I'm alone or whatever, but I would want to listen to you guys while I was able to drink. You know what I mean? Like, and Swan mentioned, you know, this is something you want to pour a drink up and like, it's like you're with your friends. And like, Swan, I mean, me and Swan, we kind of have the same answers in a roundabout way. It was like, you know, you went from, you know, just kind of talking, learning how to be a podcast to becoming a actual bourbon podcast where you're doing reviews and you're getting a little bit more into it. And then you started, you know, you get a little bit more into tips and bits and all that. And that's where, like, it's just like this evolution to a podcast that anybody can enjoy almost. It's like you don't have to, even if you wanted to skip over the first half of the bourbon stuff, it's like, oh, they're going to review Thor or they're going to do this or whatever. Like, you get bourbon reviews, you get video game stuff. And, like, that's still, to this day, my favorite part about it, and that's why I love being a part of it. It's because it's like that podcast for me, because it's everything in it. They're going to talk about a new show. They're going to talk about a new bourbon. They're going to goof off and have fun. Like, it's just not like something you turn on. You're like, well, they're going to give a review and then it's over, and then we're going to wait till next week. And that's just my thing. Like, you could go back and listen to it, and like Swan said, you can see the evolution of how it kind of went from one to another, back to that, and then you started figuring it all out, and now here we are to where you get everything. Yeah. You get everything.
I think that now that's so much more representative of what it actually is like to sit down with your friends and start drinking, and the conversations that you have, because, I mean, it is very, at any bourbon tasting, at any event where you're sitting down with people and drinking the same stuff, it is not uncommon for you to talk about bourbon at first, get a little bit of alcohol in you, and then you just kind of start talking about life.
Yeah.
Like, that is not uncharacteristic of every bourbon event that I've been to.
Yeah, I mean,
every tasting, every festival, every whatever.
Right.
Like, that's just how it goes. And I like that, you know, Tim Bips shows that side of things too.
Right. I love bourbon, and I love it so much, but I don't want to talk about it 24/7. You know what I mean? Like, I want to enjoy a pour with you guys, and then we talk about an album, or we talk about a movie or something. Like, yeah, that's something that we know we all like. We know this and that, but, like, that's like the thread that's kind of holding it together. But then we all like more stuff, and we all have more things in common. And, like, that's the thing about this, is like, it doesn't have to be 24/7 whiskey. You know what I mean? It's like, let's talk about whiskey. Let's drink some whiskey. Then let's talk about what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is watching, what we're reading, all that stuff. And that's what I love about it. Like, that's just, you know, that's life.
I mean, that's what builds a community too, because, I mean, if you were one of those, you know, podcasts that get in there, review something in under 10 minutes, realistically, the best way that you use that podcast is listen to it, understand it, like the person's personality enough, and then decide whether or not you're going to buy the bottle they have. That's cool, but it doesn't really incentivize a community. When you start getting weird and people buying into your personality and the things that you're talking about, and like, you know what, I will check out that TV show they mentioned at the end. This dude's into anime. I love that. He's doing what with snack cakes now? And then that guy's name is Swan. He used to like Fireball. I mean, like, you can kind of get into, like, either I had that phase, or that's kind of funny, actually. I think I enjoy that. Like, you can buy into that, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, I do want to leave a 5-star review. I do want to go hang out on their Facebook group. I do want to do this stuff. And then you start finding out that, like, that's kind of why the people that have stuck around so long stuck around. Like, even if they're not rushing to download that week's podcast, like, they're still there because the people are good. And they all buy into your personality, and they enjoy it. And you just don't get that if you're strictly business all the time.
Yeah. And you know, I think the most consistent criticism of the show has been, these guys laugh too much. They're
Jealous.
too giggly.
Jealous.
And you know, I just don't get that. Like, I don't understand that point of view, that mindset. And you know, the thing that I've been saying the most over the past couple of years is that when I come across somebody who I don't agree with, my reaction is just, well, they're not wired the same way that I am. Like, it's just a matter of different perspectives and everything. But, like, we laugh too much. We have too much fun hanging out with our good friends and drinking whiskey and having conversations and getting to just be together. You want a situation where you don't want that joy, that excitement?
Right.
I don't get that, you know? And I mean, essentially that means that what we do is not for that person who feels that way. But at the same time, I'm just like, we're still going strong after 5 years. What we're doing is working super well. And I mean, I have to just kind of take it on the chin anymore and move on. And just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, the point is just that we lost Swan. Swan's broken.
The point is, if you can't listen to something and have fun with the people who listen to it, then fucking listen to something else, okay?
Yeah. I mean,
we're going to laugh. We're going to be goofy.
Look, NPR's there for a reason. You know? like stuff like that.
We got extra skin around here. Come on now. God, just laugh.
Is that where the phrase "we've got skin in the game" comes from?
It is now.
All right, fair enough. So I wanted to do something different.
Ooh.
Here.
Okay.
I'm gonna play something for you all, the listeners, that I never put out. I came across it recently. And it's an episode of Tim Bip that didn't make it to air. But I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna go ahead and let it play here. But we're gonna come back on the other side of this and chat a little bit more and do a review and kind of wrap things up. So I hope everybody enjoys this lost episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. Everybody, welcome back to This Is My Bourbon Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the spirit of Kentucky and all things that make it special. I'm your host, Perry, and with me back this week, it's the home base co-hosts, the baby bourbon boy himself, Tanner, and Curtis. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's good to be with you definitely in the same room together, for sure.
Yes, it's just it's the greatest. I love hanging out.
This room is huge, by the way.
There's nothing like being really so close to each other that we could smell each other's breath, for sure.
Totally.
Concerning.
That's a thing we don't have to worry about in 2017/18 because there's never going to be anything that we would have to worry about.
Wait, are you okay?
Why are we? What
what's wrong with you? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little existential this week of this episode. But we normally start things out by talking about like what we've been drinking recently or stuff like that. And I'm sipping on some Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, which will definitely not ever go away as a good budget pour in Kentucky for $12 to $13. But have you guys been drinking anything special or different recently?
I've been drinking 1792 because that's never going to go up in price.
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of Henry McKenna 10-year Bottled and Bond. So that's great stuff.
I'm so happy that stuff is still easy to get and definitely $30 and
it's very accessible.
Hasn't shot up in price or lacking in availability, but
well, that's like my go-to bourbon. I just go and pick it up off the shelf. So
since we all three still live in Richmond, Kentucky, I was able to find it at the Kroger Wine and Spirits not too long ago.
Shout out.
It did. Yeah, big shout out. Go see our buddy Dakota who works over there still, definitely. That anyway. I've been drinking on. This is something that I haven't really had too much of recently, but I'm starting to get into more. Maker's Mark Cask Strength. But I can't. Okay. I can't have a whole lot of it because it's way too high proof for me, and
super hot. Yeah,
it's just a lot of alcohol burn, and I like the smooth bourbon. You know, like we all agree, like we did in early episodes of this podcast, right? I mean, we're still in the early episodes, I guess, but it's just we can't do anything too high. It's got to be smooth, right? Because I definitely said in episode 1 of this podcast that Woodford Reserve is the best, most well-rounded bourbon that you could find, but you know, whatever.
Great take. Well-rounded.
Okay, well, we don't want to get too far into this podcast without just kind of jumping right into it. So I figured it's time for us to sip on our bourbon of choice for this week's episode, which I have not really had much of before, but I'm curious about what this is going to be like. But Wild Turkey 101, have you guys even really heard much of this one before?
No. Now, what do the numbers mean, Perry? Does this mean there are 101 bottles and we got 3 of them?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. What do you mean 3? We're just drinking from the same bourbon bottle.
We showed 3 bottles. How far does this performance art go, Perry?
What are you talking about? Tanner, whoever the heck you are.
Oh no, he's lost it. He's too far. He's too far into the cask strength already.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, but Baby Bourbon Boy, this.
I love it. I love it when you call me that.
It was a real name we gave you.
No, I know.
Remember? Remember back in the day?
I'm playing into the bit. I understand. I get it.
No, it's 101 proof. And right now it's like a 7 to 9 year old, maybe a little bit of 12-year-old bourbon in there, because that's what Wild Turkey's got. But I don't know a whole lot about Wild Turkey though. I haven't really spent time like getting into their profile and their products, but I hear good things about them. I've been meaning to get up to their distillery and check out the gift shop and whatnot. But have you guys checked out any distilleries recently?
I've been to Maker's Mark.
I love Maker's Mark.
Yeah, so Maker's pretty cool. You know, you get to dip the bottle, and so that's pretty awesome. And you know, the bourbon's pretty good. So,
Tanner.
Well, I was just gonna say, I've been to one. I've been to Jim Beam, and they had great tacos. But I was Matthew McConaughey. He just became Wild Turkey's creative director, right? That's exciting.
Did that happen this year?
2016, yeah. I just Googled. That's what I was looking at.
Oh, sorry. Last year. That's right. You know how time works. It's very definitive in 2017. It seems like there are things that happen and we go, oh, that was last year or this year, and we just kind of move on from it. There's no big glob of like time that we have to deal with all together. But that's why we're all still in the same room at the same time.
And he's like super involved with it, isn't he?
He's super involved. We haven't even
he's on
like
campus all the time.
Because I hear he's got a new product coming out, or a new product that has already come out. I can't remember for sure. Let's just give it a little look see just to make sure, because I don't want to be wrong. This is a very God, there's no easy way for me to tell on Google right now. Well, it's either out or will be out soon. Wild Turkey Long Branch. Anyway, so that's another Wild Turkey product. Speaking of Wild Turkey 101. Do you guys want to take a sip of this and figure out what we think about it? Because I don't know anything about this bourbon. Tanner's looking a little bit nervous too because it's 101 proof.
Yeah, this sounds strong, Barry. I don't know what I'm getting in for. Getting into.
I don't know what you're in for either, man.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, there it is.
You poured so fast, the both of you.
I did. Well, it's almost like we had it ready to go. Here, I'll pour. I'll pour.
I was going to do a live pour, like a.
I just opened up the bottle.
We all just opened up the bottle together.
All right, fine.
Right?
Except I'm not really joking. I really just opened the bottle.
Okay.
Except this isn't part of the bit. And just so we let everybody know, we are drinking out of the same style of glasses because we're not fancy enough to have anything better than Rock's glasses right now.
Shout out.
Shout out. Mm-hmm. Big shout out.
I said it twice. I think I said it a lot back then.
Now,
you definitely did.
Should we add some ice cubes?
No, I think we need to stick with the way that we've been reviewing it over the past however many episodes, and just drink it neat. Because you remember the very first episode, we did a blind flight of cheap bottled and bond bourbons together, and we all wound up with very different orders and things that we liked.
Okay.
You remember? Yeah. It was just like a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
There definitely hasn't been a thing that's kept us in... Never mind. Anyway.
So should we have the first sip?
What's it smell? I think it smells kind of spicy right off the bat. Baby Bourbon Boy, what do you think?
You make me sound more and more like a superhero every time I say it. Chocolate from every orifice, man. What are you gonna do to fix it? Okay. One of my favorite bits.
Drowning.
It smells.
He's drowning
because chocolate's coming from every orifice.
Answer my eyes, Johnson.
No, I get a little cinnamon, a little clove.
Yeah, I'm getting some caramel.
I get
some caramel notes.
Yeah, I mean that's what I kind of tend to look for with bourbon is those classic notes, and then if I can't do anything more specific than that. Clove is really good though, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. I like cooking.
That was actually really nice.
What I don't know in bourbon, I know in cooking, so it's fine. I got smells down.
Fantastic. That's good. That's good stuff. All right. Well, because we're all together in the same room, and it's been a lot of fun recently. Because we're definitely about I don't know how many weeks, 10 weeks into this. Cheers.
I'm getting some spice notes for sure.
It's not as spicy as I thought it might have been at 101
I thought
proof.
the same thing.
No,
yeah, it's not as hard as I expected.
It's using a word that I definitely have been using a lot around this time. Smooth.
I don't know if I'd go that far. It's a little warm.
It's smoother than the Maker's Cast Strength that I've been drinking recently.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I guess if you're eating lava, then Hot Pockets don't taste too bad.
And there's that Kentucky hug as you.
Oh yeah, no, it is definitely
classic.
hitting me. It's definitely hitting me right in the middle of the chest in the way that semi-higher proof bourbons do. But that's the kind of thing that you need to get into with. Maybe to help you feel a little better now that the Me Too movement has spread globally.
Jesus.
What? Hey, can you believe that they had those hearings for Brett Kavanaugh?
Boy, can I believe it.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're only talking about Me Too. All right, let's. I'm going to backtrack some of that, I think, and just move on. Hey, everybody! It's our new best
Matthew.
friend.
There he is.
Matthew McConaughey's actually just walked in. This is a big revelation for the podcast. It's our first guest, our first celebrity guest. Matthew McConaughey's
hi, Matthew.
here.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, Matt. All right.
Texas.
I love going back and watching that movie.
Interstellar.
Had Interstellar come out yet?
I don't even know if it's in theaters right now, but I'm a big fan of Wild Turkey.
And also the University.
It's actually
and Lincoln.
It's actually going to be in my autobiography that is coming out, especially right now.
Mr. McConaughey, your voice seems to change very abruptly. Almost like it's three different guys trying to do this point.
You remember when I was in Wolf of Wall Street?
Has that movie come out yet?
That was 2014.
I think it had come out.
2014. Dang.
Yeah, it was
2013.
What?
Oh, wow.
Same day as Anchorman 2. I saw him in a double feature. That's real.
Did you?
Yeah.
At a drive-in?
Oh, no, Matthew's gone.
Oh, bye, Matthew. Sorry.
No, on Christmas Day, we snuck into the second showing.
Curtis is doing the chest thumping thing.
Oh! He does that in that scene.
So do you like this? Do you guys like this bourbon? Or
I would definitely pick it up again. It's not as hot as I was expecting, so I'm trying to get more into higher proof bourbons. So I think that's definitely something that I'm going to try to do.
Me too, Tanner. You're a baby.
You don't know anything. Yeah, it's
that
all
was
right.
so much more of an insult than I meant for it.
No,
to
I don't
be.
care. I don't care. Do it. I don't care. Yeah, no, it's good. It's I don't know, a little warm for my liking. I might like it in like a hot toddy apple cider situation, maybe a little bit more.
What would you think you would rather have?
Bullet.
Okay.
Just regular Bullet.
Yeah, that's
all
another.
I drink.
Yeah.
That's another brand that definitely wouldn't go through any kind of controversy coming up soon. Yeah. Bullet's real good. I think I would have to put this up against that Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond that I was talking about earlier, the 12, because I mean this was like, $25, and I just don't know if I want to splurge that much, but if it's around and I can't get the thing that I like the most, which is my house bourbon of Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, I mean I could maybe see myself eventually swaying over to the side of this particular bourbon, but we do have a review system too of nose, palate, finish, and price. We do what each category is out of 5, I think, and big score out of 20. You can multiply it by 5 to get the score out of 100 if you want, but you
said too many numbers.
Sufficient.
Well, you said before, Tanner, that it was a 40-point scale, which I realized didn't make sense because you could just multiply by 5, but
Wait, what?
Nothing, it's fine. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, so what do you guys think about the way this one smells? This is very much in line with the amount of editing that I've had to do recently on this podcast during this era.
What? You asked us to smell something. How are we going to talk and smell, Barry? You're the host.
Yeah, but you guys are the home-based co-hosts. Remember?
Yeah, but you're the showrunner.
Remember how during the second episode my dog tried to hump Curtis a lot?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that happened a lot.
It happens all the time. She loves you for some reason. Actually,
that'll probably happen in future episodes.
And we're gonna have to relocate to the office upstairs here in Richmond, Kentucky.
I would give the smell, trying to get the show back on the rails, as the co-host that I am. All right, the nose.
It's fine. That's just one of the categories.
I would give the Toucan Sam, the nose that knows. I would give it I'd say like a 2 out of 5. Not my favorite. There's not a lot there for me. It's very spicy without any sweet, in my opinion.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was going to go with like a 2.75.
Whoa.
Oh. Yeah.
I still keep up with that spreadsheet that I started around the time of this podcast and definitely is still up to date until now that nobody else has seen but me. But 275 is going to be a whole lot of. That's a lot of math there for me, man.
Yeah, I know. I should probably just switch to whole numbers, but we'll just roll with 275.
It's fine. I love the nose on this one. I actually get a really good balance between baked goods and spiciness. And I think that's actually a big change for me with the things that I've been normally saying about the bourbon that we've been drinking recently. But I'm going to give it a 3.5 on the nose.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty high there.
Taste, though.
As far as palate goes?
Sorry, palate.
Yeah, palate. So for palate, I actually really enjoy this one. I think that I'm going to give it a 4. It doesn't hit as much as the nose hits, and I'm really getting some of those sweet caramel notes, some of that clove that Tanner was talking about, and I really enjoy the palate.
I actually do get a lot of clove on this.
Yeah.
Tanner, what about you on the palate?
I think palate is the best attribute of this bourbon for me. I would give it. I'm gonna go 3.5. I'm not gonna get full 3/4 there like Curtis did, but I will. I'll give it 3.5. Almost a 4, but
I'm actually giving it a 3.5 as well. It's just a very solid middle of the road. I think that I could wind up getting to a point in my life where if I needed to make any kind of change to what my daily drinker is, this could definitely fill that void after certain things might get canceled or not canceled, discontinued. Canceled is a term we don't really use much in 2017-18.
What?
What
Me
does that
Too
mean?
was a thing in 2017. It's being used all the time.
But were you
canceled.
actually using canceled at that point, though?
I think so.
I can't remember.
We were.
Harvey Weinstein got canceled, right? That was a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
I think
Cosby
it
got
started
canceled?
in 2017, and everybody has got canceled.
Yeah, especially now in 17-18.
I think the window for cancellation has just has expanded. Like, you can be canceled for more now than ever, but I think back then you could still be canceled. It was just a smaller group of.
I mean, I dream of a day when we can retroactively cancel people too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Receipts, they might call them. Dig up past and call them receipts.
Now, are you guys getting like a pepper note? I'm getting some peppery notes.
I get a little bit, but I also kind of get this thing of like a honey too on the palate.
See, I'm definitely more on the savory side here. I don't get a lot of sweet personally.
No, I think that
that's...
this actually does fall in the more savory side of things. But
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Here's where I start to kind of fall on the rating scale. I think the finish goes a little bland on the back end. It's almost like, and not that it's a bad thing, but like freshly baked bread, but then it just kind of stops, almost like a fresh rye bread.
I can get that, and I definitely agree.
These
that
are some very advanced notes
stops.
for somebody who's just started a podcast the past few months.
Yeah, I was just thinking hot. It's just warm.
Just super hot.
Just real hot.
Sorry, Tanner, Curtis, I interrupted you.
Can a finish be short? Can it, just stop like abruptly?
Of course it can.
Yeah. Okay. I just wasn't sure. That's kind of what I'm feeling with this. Is it just stops abruptly?
Sorry, the things I'm supposed to take care of, which are definitely not a child, and for sure my dogs are crying in the background, so I had to make sure everything was okay. Anyway, yeah, no, I do think it's a little bit of a short finish, but I don't think it takes away from how good this bourbon is overall. I think if I had to classify it as something that people could maybe relate a little bit more towards, I do kind of lean towards that like rye bread, like fresh kind of rye bread character, but there are savory notes that go into it as well that make me think more of like a Reuben or because I mean, but there is even like a bitterness that you kind of associate with vinegar in there too.
Yeah, there's like now that you've said it, there is some sort of, in the same way that like a distillery almost smells like a bakery can smell sometimes, like with the yeastiness aspect of it, it's that, right? It's that
because sometimes you walk onto the grounds of the distillery, or if you work at a building in Frankfurt for the state and you get there really early in the morning and you smell just like the mash in the air. And it's like, you're kind of like in a bakery and everything. Yeah, no, that's definitely something that people would be accustomed to. Or when you like kind of
walk into a rick house, you kind of have some of that.
Oh, there's a lot of residual oak on this as well. But I really enjoy this one. This is just it hits different, which is something we're maybe saying right now.
Yeah, it's pretty fire. So
it's lit, dude.
It's so lit.
Have you guys thought about getting tickets to Fire Festival yet?
Not even on my radar.
Very specific. Very specific.
But that's happening around this time.
But did we know about Firefest to the scale we know of it now before it was a disaster?
I don't know.
Definitely not.
I only know of it as a disaster.
I don't know. I saw it on Ticketmaster.
Did you really?
You were going to say TikTok, and I was like, wait a minute.
No, I saw it on Vine, bro. On Musical.ly.
Yeah. I saw it on Yik Yak.
Have you guys seen that?
Yik Yak. That popped me. I haven't thought about Yik Yak in forever, dude. That's so funny.
Did you know I got banned from Yik Yak once?
Why?
Because I was trying to ask people if they'd heard the new Gary Clark Jr. album.
Of course. That's the most used story of all time.
They thought it was spam.
The only Yik Yak story I remember is when I was on UK's campus, and because you had to be like on the campus to access it, right? That was the thing.
Yeah.
And so I was on UK's campus looking through it, and Alabama was playing in basketball that week. And so there was like this weird UK-Alabama alliance that was like, Alabama was like, we can root for you guys in basketball, and you can root for us in football. And everybody was like, okay, cool, that's fine.
Naturally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was all I remember.
We're trying to recruit people into a weird...
You're welcome for the Yik Yak reference.
Yeah, that was great. That popped me for sure. That's the best 2017 reference we've had, I think. Yik Yak.
Oh, man.
It's probably dead by then, wasn't it? It
was
not around long.
It had to have been.
It was there for like a year, I think.
Yeah. Vine was probably dead too, but...
No, Vine didn't... Vine won't die for another couple of years. Because Drew Gooden definitely has his Roadwork Ahead video.
No, that was like 2014, bro.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. That was recent.
I'm pretty sure Vine was over by 2017.
There's no way.
Yik Yak was like 2013 to 2014 or something.
Vine was officially stopped January 17th, 2017.
Really?
Yeah. Its heyday was like 13 to 16, I think. Because I remember being it was really big when we were freshmen. That's the only thing I remember.
When you all were freshmen.
Yeah, so 2014.
And I was at a different college than we are right now.
Yeah,
well, I'm still at the same college, and you guys have graduated and gone on to work at different places.
I'm working at an agency that definitely won't close.
I definitely just didn't get really sad thinking about that.
That's fine. It's fine. It deserved
it.
Yeah,
no, I know, but still.
And I think I'm going to work at this. I think I'm going to work at Keeneland for at least 5 to 7 years.
You know what? You're consistent. I admire it.
Dreams are as big as you can make them, but I think I'm going to, I don't know. I'm just going to see how things flow in the breeze. I got to get over having this new graphic design professor right now.
Oh, no. She turned out okay.
Did she, though?
I mean, people like her now in the industry, I think.
Yeah, well, sucked when we first had her.
We have always said that she's good at connecting students with industry people.
Yeah, she was good at the networking stuff. That is what I will say.
Yes. I never felt that way, but I think it was because we currently do not and did not like each other.
Interesting.
Oh, she didn't like me.
She didn't like me either, but like
she didn't like us.
Yeah, you called her a carpetbagger.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
That's awesome. I don't remember that.
Do you not
that's
remember?
That's really funny.
She said something like in the middle of class, and you just were like carpetbagger, and she called you I can't even remember what she called you.
I don't remember this at
all.
But
she retorted to you in class.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not been that long ago. I mean,
it was at least 6 years ago, right? 6 years ago. Well, we didn't have her as a senior. So
what do you mean 6 years ago? This is 2017-18.
Sorry, I've lost sight of the bit. I don't know what's real anymore. Anyway, shout out to Ellen. Remember that? Remember her?
I do miss Ellen.
I don't miss Ellen. Shannon was better than Ellen.
Oof. Okay. Well, anyway, now that we're naming names, what would you guys?
You said Richmond, Kentucky 5 times in this podcast.
Yeah, you're right. You make a very good point. Do you guys have anything like proof? Price. Do you guys want to rate this on the price?
And what was the price again?
Like $23.99, $25, something like that.
Okay. I'll quickly rate finish because I didn't. And we'll save that. I'm not a fan of the finish. Really, it's kind of lackluster in all regards to me. I'll give it a 2.
Kurt?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it probably a 2 as well. It's just too short. It doesn't go, it doesn't like warm all the way down. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.
I'm actually going to give it a 2.5. I think it's kind of middle of the road for me. Mm-hmm. I still get a little bit that I was picking up on with the palate, but it's less of like a consistent warmth through the chest and just kind of like a nice little like comforting hug, I guess, that I'm getting with it. But so I guess I really didn't give the finish a score either earlier. But yeah, price around $25. I think this is kind of a steal that people should either check out if they haven't already or consider looking at, over the next couple of years because, things aren't going to change too much for this brand, I'm sure, because Matthew's around now.
A stalwart of consistency, Matthew McConaughey isn't going to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give the price a 3.5.
I'm with you here. I think, especially for the proof, it's not that, like, it's around the ballpark of other bourbons of much lower proof. So if that's what you're in the ballpark for, I think it's, or in the market for, I think that's a really good price for it. I'm actually going to give it a 4. That's a pretty great price for.
Actually, you bring up a good point because there's a little bit of chitter chatter right now about, people charging $10 per year that a bourbon has been around. So, I mean, like, if we apply that to this, and the minimum age of anything that goes into this is 6 years, I mean, that's $60 a bottle. But, they mass produce this, essentially. So,
sure. At
$25 for, at minimum, a 6-year-old bourbon, that's actually not a bad deal right now.
It's a totally fair price.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm going to bump it up to a 4. Yeah. I don't mind that at all. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to, piggyback off of you guys and say a 4 as well. It's a good bourbon at the price, at the proof point, because we know what proof points are now.
It's not 101 years old.
And mash bills. Do we remember?
Yes, and mash bills.
Tanner, you remember mash bills from the first episode, right?
Yeah, it's what happens when you compress a bunch of money. No, it's your. It's what goes in. It's the ingredients list. Cooking.
That was really good improv right there. Thinking on your feet. Yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah. No. Everything about this does kind of lean itself towards being a really good value pour. So my final score was a 13.5 out of 20. But did you not see the numbers from that? That gif of that lady.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis one.
Going to yeah, exactly. Or it's Zach Galifianakis too. Yeah, that's right. Because that's within this time period.
I gotta think back of what I said.
You said 2 for the nose. You said 3.5 for the palate, 2 for the finish.
Right, and 4, so that'd be, 11 and a half?
Yeah.
All right.
Kurt, I don't remember yours.
I had a 4. I want to say I had a 4.
You've had 2 4s, maybe? You had a 3.75 because I made fun of you for it.
Yeah, 3.75 on the nose. I had a 4 for
price
and palate.
I had a 4 for palate and a 2.
So 13.75.
Wow.
Yeah.
For you. That's actually, that's not bad. Hey, if you're following along with our new review model with the podcast, I mean, that means you should probably go check it out and pick up a bottle, and it's a recommend from us all around. Yeah. So not a bad bottle of bourbon to consider picking up if you're looking for a new budget bottle or whatever. I don't know.
A lot of bees.
So we normally rather end out episodes with a segment where we recommend things called Tips and Bits, but I want to shift things a little bit because, I think it's important for us to be introspective or in some ways reflective and ask you guys something very different from what we normally talk about. And I want to see if you guys can pinpoint almost exactly the things that you're going to do over the next 5 years, if you're, or how you think things are going to go, or where do you see yourself?
5-year plan of sorts.
5-year plan.
Yeah. What's your? This is your 5-year plan podcast.
I mean, that's so difficult to do though. Like to see into the future like that.
I know.
Man, how do you start?
Things change so rapidly, but I think you can. I think you guys are capable enough of doing that.
Am I starting?
Well, you normally did start, even though you normally did start, even though I would say Curtis and Tanner, and your response was, "Well, I got named second, so I would go first."
This sounds like a different person.
Go back to episode 1, and that's a real thing.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I'm just like, that just feels like a lifetime ago. A couple of weeks ago. I don't know. I'll probably work at the agency I'm at until the main retainer client pulls out, and then they close up shop, and then I'll probably go freelance for a while, work for some other agencies in town, and then there might be some massive world event that makes freelance sort of the norm for a lot of people, and I'll probably do that until there's an agency that needs more help more consistently, and they call me, and I work for them for maybe a year, and then who knows what'll happen next. Life. Maybe I'll date someone and break up with them and love the splendors of life may come my way.
I didn't even know that was a thing that you anticipated.
Hey man,
happening.
You never know. Life. You never know what's going to happen.
Things happen. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask you about the details of those
specifics of my prediction.
Your prediction.
Yeah.
After we get done recording tonight in my living room in Richmond, Kentucky. Curtis, what about you? Because you're definitely going to be nearby for a while, right? I mean, you haven't even. I assume that proposing to Allie's within the next couple of years. Right?
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is. I'm going to still keep working for the company that I'm at, Keeneland, and then I'm going to get engaged and work in, Lexington. Then I'm going to get married and move to Cincinnati and then be there for maybe a year, still working at the same place because working remote is, I think it'll be normal by the time that happens.
Wow, really? You think that we're not going to have to go into an office regularly?
Yeah, no, I really think that remote's going to kind of become a little bit of the norm. for a lot of people.
Do you think Trump's going to get a second term?
I don't think so. I'm really going to hope not.
Who's going to?
But I don't think so.
Who's going to beat him?
It's got to be Michelle, right? That's the rumor.
You think Michelle's going to run?
So that's what we've been told.
Yeah, that was the rumor.
Wow.
I'm gonna go opposite and say maybe Biden.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Can he be Bernie?
Vice president.
I'm still pulling for Bernie.
I'm
a big Bernie guy.
Bernie's just so he's so with it, and that bird landed on his podium at that one campaign rally, and it was in Portland, right? And everybody said, "Oh, put a bird on it, like Portlandia." Right? Remember that? That definitely happened.
Yeah.
No one from that show is going to get canceled.
No.
Have I missed
and
something?
then after that, I think we'll be in
something.
Cincinnati for like a year, and then I'm gonna move to South Carolina.
Wow.
Whoa! Why South Carolina?
That's a heck of a change.
Just love the beach, man.
Oh, nice.
You're gonna
Shout out to Myrtle.
Weather.
You're gonna be a surfer, bro.
No, not to Myrtle, to Charleston.
Of course. Sorry.
Are you gonna survive okay during the hurricane season of 2022?
There's going to be hurricanes?
Oh, sorry, you're right. We fixed that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We don't know. Yeah, you're right. We really pulled together, and now hurricanes aren't a thing. In 2022.
We pulled together climate change quite a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, things are looking so great for the future.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
It got me.
no, I'm just joking. There will definitely be a hurricane. I think its name will be Ian or something in 2022. So.
I thought it was going to be pronounced Ian.
Oh, like Ian Eagle, the sports broadcaster. Shout out.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was thinking. Never mind. Anyway, this is a dumb bit that we're doing now. Well, I want to say this because you guys are now, and I think you forever will be, very important parts of this podcast that help define the tone and the energy and the context for why we do This Is My Bourbon Podcast. And I'm sure in 2022, after 5 years, through a lot of hardship and change and everything, it's still going to be going strong. And there are those of us who look back on it in 2017 and think very, very fondly of those times, because they were much simpler, and we didn't know how things were going to change and evolve. But I'm sure at some point things might change a little bit. But I know that it's going to be very important to this particular host that y'all were part of something that is as special and means as much to him as it does, because it's been a very long 5 years. It's been a very eventful 5 years, but I love the both of y'all, and I'm very thankful for the contributions that you not only have given to Timbip, we haven't even started calling it that yet. This is My Bourbon Podcast.
That sounds nice.
You
might.
It seems like a good name.
Yeah, it's a good little abbreviation, but things are definitely gonna be exactly the same in 5 years, and
none of us will ever leave.
And we're all gonna be in Richmond, Kentucky forever, and that's it. I won't even have a child by then.
You said that so defiantly. I won't even have a child.
Well, I mean, they are probably an accident that happened along the way. Anyway, I think that does it for this week's Timbip. I guess that's what we're calling it now. I was so
excited to recommend Cuphead. I came up with a 2017 specific game and everything.
Oh,
nice.
I can't wait to play Cuphead when I get a Switch in a year or so.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we might have to talk about that after we're done. Anyway, where could people find you all on social media?
I'm gonna break the veil because it's changed.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
I'm Tanner likes stuff everywhere. Sometimes there's one F because character limits like Twitter, but most of the times there's two, like Instagram and TikTok, and that's a platform, right? Yeah, you can find me there doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KurtCon, Kurt_Con15, and on Instagram at KurtCon.
And I am probably going to change my handle in the somewhat near future from PRitter1492 to PRitter1792.
Oh, shout out.
Well, it's more in line with Kentucky, which I'm much more proud of than, a man who sailed over to this land. And
I never even connected that's what it was.
I realized that within the past year, or I'm going to realize that within 21, 20, whatever. I know you can follow me there, and you can also follow the show at My Bourbon Pod. I think we're there now. I don't know if we've changed it yet, but whatever. Go follow these guys. I love them so much, and we're going to do more fun bourbon podcasting in the future. Until next time, I'm Perry.
I'm Tanner.
It was always me second.
Oh, was it? Oh, God, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. It's okay. But let's just go again. I'm Perry.
Let's do it again.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next... This is great. We'll see you next week. But until then, I'm Perry.
I'm Curtis.
And I'm the baby bourbon boy, Tanner.
And this is my Bourbon Podcast. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Obviously, definitely an episode that we recorded back in 2017 and or 18 that you've never heard before.
I didn't even know about that episode.
Yeah, most people didn't.
Y'all have aged a bit.
Oh, we look great.
Yeah.
We look just like we did then and now. Anyway, we figured that it wouldn't be an episode of 10-Bip without a review, so we're going to actually review the Kentucky Al Takumi edition.
Oh,
and this was sent to us by by Kentucky Al.
Full bottle, right?
Yeah, full 750. This is a $150 bottle.
Damn.
Too.
So what's the deets on this?
Well, this is a collaboration between John Rea, who is the master blender at Kentucky Al, and Yahisa Yusuke, who is a Japanese whiskey blender. And stop me if you've heard that before, but 100 proof. This is a blend of 4, 5, 6, and I believe 13-year-old barrels. It's 11 or 13. I can't remember for sure. I don't have the paper around, but it's anywhere between. Well, not anywhere between. Horrible way of phrasing that. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's fine. That's fine. Everything's fine.
I got it.
There's some wheated bourbon in here. There's some rye bourbon as well. But this is all stuff that was either allocated for them or that they might have actually distilled pre-change, we'll say.
Pre-change.
But look at this bottle, though. It's a really pretty freaking bottle.
It really is, yeah.
I do enjoy the red, and I like the bottom white label with the all the writing.
It's the Japanese flag. It's the white on top and bottom, and then the red in the middle.
Oh, I see it now.
I hadn't even thought of it. Guys, friggin' great design choice there. Way to go, Kentucky Al design team. That's incredible.
That is awesome. I wish they would have put an anime character on it, though. Made the owl look like an anime character.
Yeah. Make him look like
badass.
Make him look like Kaepora Gebora from Legend of Zelda.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Put a little Naruto headband on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
But 100 proof. I don't know if I said that before. What do you guys think about this on the nose?
I think I had a little sneak peek of this, and I'm going to say this again. It smells better than any of the new post-change Kentucky Owl products I've had. Yeah. And I think that's a big compliment to this. The nose smells like cherries and almost like cherries and chocolate a little bit. And a little bit of oak, but there's this cherry note in it that's really good.
The cherry carries through to the palate as well. I don't mind this, y'all. Swan, you seem to be struggling a little bit more with it than we are.
Doing some research. I'm trying to figure some things out.
I like that, Swan. I don't know, like that made me feel some sort of way. I looked over there and he was like serious looking. I was like, damn.
He was our computer guy.
He's like the guy.
He's the man. He's the man in the chair. Swan, the bourbon researcher.
Yeah. Took that mustache, you put him in a van, made him research stuff. No, but this smells great. It smells like cherries and chocolate to me, and palate definitely cherry up front. I'm getting a little bit something on the end. I can't figure out what it is yet. I'm really wondering what this would have been like at a higher proof.
Well, so I will say too, like a lot of Japanese whiskey, not that it can't, but it doesn't usually get super high proof.
I was going to say, I know a lot of those Nikas and stuff like that, Suntory stuff, like that's usually like not even 100 proof, right? They're usually lower proof.
Well, so Nika from the barrel, I think, is like 104 or 105.
Yeah.
So that's their cast strength.
Right. But I would like to see, so this was blended by a Japanese blender, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, in collaboration with. But the thing
but all the whiskey is like, American.
It's Kentucky whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, so, and I will say their wording specifically is showcasing Kentucky bourbon through the eyes of Japanese whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they're not trying to make it taste like Japanese whiskey. They're just trying to implement some of the same blending techniques you would see in that.
Right.
Now, that being said, though, I mean, this at this point is not an innovation because this is essentially the same idea behind Legent.
Legent, right.
Yes. Legent was partially finished, though. This is not. This is 100% just Kentucky straight bourbon being
blended by a Japanese blender.
Yeah. Because the other one, they used the same technique that you would normally see out of some of the Suntory products, I believe, where they didn't just straight up finish it. They had some barrels finished, some not. They blended some of the finished with the unfinished. This is just straight up a mixture of Kentucky whiskeys.
Yeah. Man, I don't know if it's my mind. Like, I'm thinking of, like, Japanese, like, snacks now, though. And there is, like, a green tea Kit Kat note that I get on the finish.
There's definitely a green tea note in there.
That's the finish that's what I was getting that I couldn't figure out. I'm like, what is that? What is that? And it's, like, the green tea candy chocolate and stuff. Like, that's cool. I like that.
I think Swan's going to go get some Legent.
I think we finished mine on portion.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. I was going to grab mine, but, I mean, we'll let Swan do the legwork here.
Swan work a little bit. Flap those wings.
Doing research, boys.
Doing research, boys.
Right. Did you grab the leech? Oh, no, you grabbed the Nika. Oh, okay. This is
I just want to see.
It sounds like we're narrating something that's like really catastrophic, but it's just Swan. Like, what you got the Nika? Swan? What are you doing with it?
It's just Swan doing something that we did not
Swan,
predict.
Stop! Swan, what are you doing?
I just want to know. So, like, what's the similarity?
I'm sorry. I was thinking of that. I think I sent it to both of you all, but that reel or TikTok or whatever of the guy saying whatever food you're putting in your face hole right now.
That was good.
Somebody please help me.
Dude,
I laughed so hard at that.
you have sent some hitters. You and Swan. Like, I'll wake up and, like, I'll see, like, P. Ritter sent me a reel, or my Bourbon Pod sent me a reel, Swan sent me a reel. I'm like, I got to go in here because I'm about to laugh. I'm about to laugh some farts out, so I got to sit on the toilet and watch these. My crones can't handle all the laughter.
Oh, my gosh.
Just pooping on myself with the laughter.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
Swan, what has your research concluded?
They are weirdly similar.
Really?
I believe that.
Yeah. So one has definitely got more of a rye spice to it, and that is the Takumi.
Yeah.
No shocker there. But I will say the green tea note is somewhat similar. They have like an almost kind of all spicy vibe in both of them. They both have a slight, almost butter note to them. The biggest difference that I'm noticing, and I'll go back and try it, the Nika coffee grain whiskey, which coffee spelled is in the still type. It's coffee, COFFEY.
It's not like actual like coffee.
It's
I
a coffee.
have never noticed that before.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So coffee was actually the last name of a guy that created a still.
Yeah.
And that still type is what they use for this whiskey.
Swan, you definitely need to get back to being on the show more regularly because I learn something new every single time that you're on.
Yeah. But
Usually it's just me and Eric making fart jokes, and now like
Yeah. Talking about skin and stuff.
But they do have like a genuine like oiliness that you don't really get out of other whiskeys. Like I feel like they shot for a texture more so than they shot for like a flavor profile. I mean, there's some similarities, but it definitely I see why, you know, maybe this wouldn't be at the top of some bourbon drinkers. Like for me, I don't like green tea that much, so for me this is not going to rate well. But at the same time, like there's a strange amount of similarities that you wouldn't normally get out of two separate types of whiskey.
I think where this kind of sits really well is that it's different enough and interesting enough that if you were to put it in a tasting, you would have a lot of people going, well, that's different. You know? And I'm not saying that that's the only thing that this sits on, because it's not. I mean, this has plenty of merit to it on its own. It's just, you know, there is a uniqueness factor behind this bourbon that, I mean, even, you know I kind of jokingly said Legion, but I mean, I don't even think that it falls under the same umbrella that Legion does. Like they just seem to come from two completely different places.
I think
honestly.
That's the same concept, but like if I was side by siding them, remembering what I thought about Legion, like this would be heads above it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Here's my issue with this though. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to point fingers or anything. But for this to be the first product post-change that we say is really good or deserves to be looked at or sought out by people, and it took bringing another palette into the mix.
Another blender.
What does that say about what's going on with them right now? Like I'm really not trying to, you know, kick them when they're down or anything or knock their knees out. But I mean,
we've talked about Wiseman and we've talked about Batch 11 and stuff like that. And like, I would drink this.
And we've talked about the Yeah. Well, no, you said Wiseman. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you for nothing.
No, it's fine. But this is the first time I've been like, I'm digging this. Like, I'm enjoying this. I'm finding notes that I like, I enjoy. And yeah, if you step back and look at everything about this bottle, it's, it may have the same brand name on it, but it's definitely, it's got stuff that somebody else had a hand in it. So
now, I've had batch 11. Have you had it yet, Eric?
Yeah, you let me have some
of batch 11.
You gave me a sample
from Papa Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, when you first got it.
Yeah. And we both agreed that it was good.
It was good. It didn't have that factor.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, it didn't have that marshmallow, that toasted graham cracker that hits you like.
But it was still a really good bourbon.
It was good.
And I think what I'm getting at is that we probably have been harsher than we needed to at times, based on the fact that a good friend of ours is no longer involved with the brand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we did kind of need something to convince us that things were trending in the right direction for them. Also, that being said, we genuinely dislike the Wise Man bourbon.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Like just straight up, we both did not like it. I placed
it in my own category of bourbon.
Gold medal in the poop category.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's just how it is. Like, and
we're not trying to be like, the thing is, like, they're either not listening to what we say or they are listening and not caring about it.
Right.
But they were able to look past that enough to send us a bottle.
Right.
And so I think that like, and when we do reviews of things that we don't like, it's not to like discourage people from, but I guess in some ways it kind of is inherently, but it's not to like make enemies. It is an honest review. No. Even if we have been sent something that is from a brand that we historically like, it just gets to the point where we're like, we can't do anything but be honest about what is in our glass.
Right. And
it's the most important thing with a review.
Yes,
is that we are honest.
And the Kentucky Owl brand is a brand that we genuinely want to see. Like, we like the brand, and like I would love to see it keep going. Like, no matter who's part of it or whatever. And it's like you don't want to go from seeing all these batches and these ryes that are just amazing to something else. It's like it's like you want to see it keep going up. And unfortunately, some of the products just haven't. But back to this one though, like, I genuinely enjoy this.
Yeah, I do too, and I think that it is a sign at the very least that they might be trending back in the right direction. That being said, this is a special release that they collaborated with somebody else on.
Yeah.
Can you
do what you want to do, Swan?
Okay. So I looked up where the distillery that the extra blender, what's his name again? I'm sorry. Can we pull that back up?
Yahisa Yusuke.
Okay. So I looked at his distillery. It's Nagahama is the distillery. So before we take price into consideration, if I find the most related product to what we're drinking right now that has a combination of malt, corn, and rye whiskeys at 47%, you're looking at, for a single 700 ml bottle, probably about $200 to $350.
Oh my gosh!
So take that into consideration when we look at the price point. I think that's important.
So that's from his distillery.
Yes, so it's in collaboration with yet another distillery. So I think they kind of looked at this guy and realized, okay, he's doing good stuff. It's in collaboration with other people.
Right.
Because that one's from Nagahama and Saboromaru.
So
it's like designers collabing with shoe brands. Like the shoe is itself is like this, a normal price, but you bring this designer in who collabs, so you've got like this shoe / this designer, and it goes up a little bit in price. It's just what people want.
That may be fair and true, but that aside, the minimum age in this is a 4-year-old bourbon.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is not going to be an easy pill to swallow for a lot of people when they consider the fact that this is $150.
They also do have offerings as low as $30, but I will mention, like, if you're just looking at the flavor profile that this distillery usually puts out, it's apparently delicate apple, malt, spice, and complex. So you can kind of see some of the carryover between what he's used to making and what we've got in our glass.
There's a good chunk of stuff I'm just going to cut out as we try to figure out where to go next.
I just love Swan, the bourbon researcher.
Yeah.
Listen, I got 2 screens now. I feel good about it.
I got the 2 as well, but
I got 2 screens. What the hell?
No, goodness gracious. I think that we've kind of talked around this enough, but I guess it's time for us to actually review it. But we have a review system of nose, palate, finish, and price. As I said, my nose got a little stuffy too, so take that for what you will. But yeah, nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5. Final score out of 20, multiplied by 5. If you want to know what we think about this out of 100 in the American scale of grading, whatever. I don't care. What do you guys think about this one on the nose?
I think the nose is probably my favorite part. I give it a 4. I don't know. There's this just nice burst of like cherry that's just refreshing when I smell it, and it's one of those that I could just smell probably more than I could keep sipping on. Like I just want to smell it. Like it's like cherry, like Starburst, and like a little bit of chocolate and stuff.
For me, I'm probably gonna give it a 2.5. It does have that green tea note. I've not enjoyed that in like anything that I've ever had. It's not gonna be something for Swan. But at the same time, that's important because there's some people that maybe go with your palate, realize like, oh, I also don't like green tea. This is probably not your whiskey.
Yeah.
But it does definitely have that. I feel like if it had a little more citrus or a little bit more leaned into some of the kind of baking spice kind of thing along with it, it could be good. But it does hit you over the head with that green tea Kit Kat.
There's not a lot of dark bakery spices in this. Not any at all.
But I will say though, and it wasn't until I started going back to it, trying to figure out what I thought about it review wise. There is a savory note that just keeps jumping out at me on the nose that I love. I mean, it started getting me thinking about what kind of dish I would pair this with, and I can't help but think of like a shrimp lo mein or something as a dish to go with this, especially nose wise. But
I could definitely see pairing this with something
shrimp
savory.
Fried rice,
rice, something like that. It would go perfect with that. Not as much like a dessert with like bakery stuff because there's none there. But savory, this is a savory pairing it all day.
Definitely, for sure. I don't know if that's enough for me to be like, oh, this is amazing and everything. But I do think that it is genuinely very unique, and it's something that will surprise people with the way that it presents itself. I'm going to give it a 3.5 on the nose. Palate. Just shoo your cat away. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Palate. I'm really surprised with how much I like this. That's not a reason to give it a good score, but it just kind of is another factor into everything. maybe let me take another sip. Actually, somebody else do it there.
I gave it a 2.5 because it was kind of right in the middle for me. Like I didn't mind the palate. Thought it was okay. I like the finish more than the palate, so my score goes back up on the finish, which I'll get into then. But like, it's kind of like average. Like it hits me with the cherry nose, and then I want another big hit of cherry, but it's kind of mellows out a little bit on the palate, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't get a lot of those notes that I'm enjoying until the finish. So I gave it a 2.5.
I actually gave mine a 3. I went up a little bit for the nose. I feel like this is going to sound bad, but I feel like you get a little extra heat on the palate that maybe when you got to the nose you weren't expecting, but I like it. I actually do like it.
Swan, I'm right on board with you though. This isn't my favorite drinker, but I do think that I find a lot of value in what this is. I like it a little bit less than the palate. I gave it a 3. Or excuse me, the nose. So I gave the palate a 3.
Yeah.
You know, if I kind of like, it looks like a disapproving dad or principal
like,
or something.
You knew better than this. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
You got real Ron Swanson when you do that. You know?
Do you know the stress that you have put me and your mother through tonight?
Do you want to do that to your mother?
How dare? Anyway,
I feel like you could be an extra in oh shoot, I'm forgetting. Never mind. I can't do it.
Okay. This is a good talk.
If it comes to me, I'll just scream it out. It'll be okay.
Just in the middle
Super
of somebody.
Troopers, maybe?
Shenanigans?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you could be an extra in that. Like a cop in the background.
Yeah. I'd have to I'd stick my belly out more and just make sure I have 4 donuts in one hand.
Right, meow. Meow.
Yeah. Did you just say meow?
Meow?
Maybe you're the star of Super Troopers 3.
Yeah, if that movie ever gets made.
I hope.
Finish, though. This is the weakest part for me. And it's not even because it is bad. It's just, it's very flat. I mean, that's when I start to get this flat cherry cola note.
You know what it reminds me of? The old Ezra 7.
That's exactly what I was thinking, especially with that tasting note.
Makes sense with my score then, because I really like that bottle.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah, 1.5 for me on the finish.
Damn. Go ahead, Swan.
I gave it a 2.
Eric?
3.5.
Wow, okay. Wow.
That's what I said earlier. I love the finish more than the palate because I get all the stuff, all the notes on the finish.
Yeah.
I like the green tea Kit Kat, so I like that, and I get that the majority on the finish. That's why my finish is higher than the palate. And then you all start talking about this is the weakest one, and then you're like, Old Ezra 7, and I'm like, oh my God, I really like Old Ezra 7. I really like that. So that makes sense. 3.5 for me, baby. I'll take this finish all day.
Will it? Old Ezra 7. What else you got?
What else I got? Don't even. Go drink your scotch. Jesus.
I know. I was able to go get some Japanese whiskey.
I know. Fuck me, right?
All right. What about the price though? This is $150. I know that this definitely is getting into the premium side of things.
I cut it in half. I gave it a 2.5 because I think if this was slashed in half at the price, if this was $75, I'd be into it.
Yeah,
2.5. I got to cut it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm gonna give it a 2.5 as well.
I gave it a 2.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's great if you really buy into it, but it's going to take somebody like me that wanted to go on here, look at the research behind it, figure out why the pricing is the way it is. That's just not your typical customer. And I mean, even with Kentucky Owl, like, there's people that like the collectability aspect of it, and I get that. But they have their collectible line, and then this is not in it. You know,
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind having this around.
I get that, but it's not like they're numbered. Like, this is batch,
whatever.
Yeah. You know, and it's not falling into that. So I just don't see people being as drawn to this as they would like a Kentucky Owl batch 11.
Yeah, no, I get that, but this to me is still. Again, it goes back to me saying that this is something that could be interesting for people to have at a bourbon tasting or some kind of bourbon gathering, and it's different enough. I think it's got enough going for it that people could latch onto. That I would say, if you see it, pick it up. If you have the extra cash to pick it up, do so as well. But I figured for 5 years we're going to change things up a little bit, and I wanted to do something extra special for a review. And if I recommend something, I'm gonna utilize this little device, I guess. But I got a "You're the Best" trophy today.
Oh my.
Kentucky Owl Takumi edition.
Oh, that's so nice.
You're the best. You're the best. So I recommend it. Somebody go get it. So I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to drink out of this thing too.
I think you should. I think everything that gets a "You the Best" should have one pour poured in it and you drink out of it. And if we're together, I'll take a drink out of it, and if Swan's there, he'll take a drink out of it. And we'll just give each other COVID.
It does not taste good out of that.
Why? You got to season it a little bit?
I guess so. Also, if I have something that I don't like, I'm just going to put a little...
Worse?
You're the worst.
Oh, and you still drink out of it.
Well, yeah, I think we have to. I don't know.
That's going to be the new thing. I love this.
Isn't that great?
I like this a lot. I like this a lot.
Yeah. So, the first official "You're the Best."
Way to go, Kentucky Owl Takumi
Kentucky Owl
Daddy.
Takumi edition. This week's "You're
Swan's
the Best."
Not impressed. Look at him.
Yeah,
I like the trophy. I wouldn't give it the "You're the Best." That's it. But
well,
I mean,
you got two recommends out of 3 today.
Swan would say Kentucky Owl Takumi. You're the worst.
Worst whiskey ever.
Yeah.
According to Swan, worst whiskey ever. Put that on the advertisement.
The good thing is too, I can erase.
I know.
This.
I see that. It's erased. So we can just keep using
each
it
time. Yeah. It works great for game nights too. For anybody who, if they win, like, they can just write their name on it, and until the next game night, you get to keep it.
I like that.
It's really bad out of that. Really bad out of that chalice. Anyway,
you just ate off all the fake gold on there.
Yes,
just drank it all.
So we'll move into tips and bits here in a second. I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to, and I don't want to like pat myself on the back or anything, but in addition to the tips and bits that we have this week, I wanted to maybe, because this could be an episode that people jump onto the podcast through. I would like for you guys, and I'm sorry I'm putting you on the spot, to recommend an episode of the podcast for people to listen to that you think maybe either encapsulates Tim Bip the most, or would be a favorite for someone to revisit, or one to just go and check out. Maybe it kind of fell under the radar or something like that.
I've got one. It's this First Swan Takeover episode.
I recommend that one too.
Yeah, it's the mash bill to Blind Flight that I gave you and Kurt.
Let me find the episode number so I can tell everybody.
That was a great episode.
How far back would that have been?
Would have been in 2020.
Yeah, I remember even where I was sitting when I recorded that episode, because it was at my kitchen table, and I was like, how authentic. Like, this is great. But it was interesting. But I enjoyed it, because I even came up with like alternate phrases for every segment.
Yes, you did.
And I just was so proud of myself. And at the end, I looked at my ex now, but I was like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. What? Barry's gonna have to edit this?
I got the episode number if Eric doesn't. 128. It's called "This Is a Hostile Swan Takeover," plus Blanton's, Hancock's Reserve, and Rock Hill Farms shootout. Man,
yeah,
that was a minute ago. Honestly, though, that's one of our most popular episodes. I'm not even joking.
It's all BT stuff. It's not like there wasn't any extra special sauce other than the BT stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Goodness gracious. But do we want to do Timbip stuff first before we get to the actual tips and bits, or do you just want to go ahead and do your normal tips and bits, Swan?
No, I'm going to need a minute on the tips and bits. I got to be honest. I got to filter everything over the last couple of weeks. What you got for your favorite episode? Your under the radar episode there, Eric?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, friggin' won my debut, baby. No, I'm just like,
man, that was a really fun episode, though.
It was.
It's a big difference between the way that Eric acts now on the podcast versus then.
Oh, yeah. Lots of, I say fuck a lot more now. But one of my favorite episodes, and this is going way back, so anybody that's kind of listened recently, this is definitely one to check out, is episode 54. This is Kentucky Owl with Dixon Dedman. It's probably...
You took mine.
Well... That's what
okay.
I do, baby.
That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. That was, yeah.
It's easily one of Perry's best interviews, and I think if anybody listening, I don't care if you're if you have another podcast or a YouTube or anything, if you question Perry's interviewing ability, like, just listen to this one, and you'll understand why he's so good at interviews. So
I really appreciate that.
That
was the I think that was the I know that was the defining moment when I realized that I could do so much more with the podcast than just doing reviews or sitting down with my buddies and drinking. Like, I could actually interview people. And like, the nice thing about that too with Dixon is we were already friends. Like, we already knew each other. We already had a relationship. But it just went a long way towards being able to have a very, very genuine conversation with each other. And it just, I think that it's one of those where if people recommend or people ask, what episode should I go and kind of start with? That's a really good one.
Yeah.
To get into things with. Sorry, Eric, I interrupted you.
What? No, you just said that's exactly what you took. You took all the words out of my mouth. Yeah, you made it sound better. I don't know good words, so. But seriously, that's a great episode. So,
I want to. I'm going to use this to highlight a few kind of guest spot episodes that I think are.
Oh, that time you made Matt Porter cry.
Yeah.
Whatever episode that is.
Can I give an honorable mention to the wrapping up of one of the episodes by Fred Gilbert?
Yeah.
I was on that one.
Yeah.
I guess actually that was your debut, Eric. I was
just a special guest on that.
The 2021 meetup episode with one of the
Gilbert with the best
funniest.
closing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sorry. Now I have to think about him saying, "Do I have nut on my face?"
And then you just ended.
It's the end of the episode.
Yep. Let's wrap it up.
If any time that we have had Chad and Sarah on the show, it has been absolutely just pure magic. Fred Minnick, anytime that he has been on, it's been some of the best conversation, and it kind of goes back to like Fred and I are friends, so it makes for a good time to actually be had. The Dad's Drinking Bourbon episode that I did with John back in January of 21, as things were kind of shifting, and we were trying to figure out what to do with the podcast at that point. Grease and Will have been on multiple episodes too, and but I think you're right though, that episode with Porter, when we were talking about Beagle Rare, and so this was the first like whiskey tube community project that he did, and the second one was supposed to have been done by now, but we'll talk about.
Still has that.
No, he doesn't have it.
Oh,
different conversation. But originally, like his plan was to have Dixon finish off the blend, and they would auction it off for charity, and then we would have a big like meetup party and everything to celebrate the success of Beagle Rare. And extenuating circumstances began to happen around that time, and we realized we weren't able to all get together. But it was important to me to be able to share with Matt directly the thoughts that Dixon had about being involved in all this, and presenting him with a bottle of Kentucky Owl bourbon was magical. I mean, like I know that we joke and we go, "Oh, it's when we made Matt Porter cry." But it's so much more than that, man. It's so much more than that.
You have to listen to it to like, yeah.
You do, yeah. And I feel, and I don't mean to like insert myself in this way, but I feel a little sense of like ownership in ADHD whiskey too, because I mean that was an early kind of step towards him figuring out that he could do his own channel and be a part of the community at large. But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, and I know I said that at the beginning of the show too, about being able to look back and see my own growth through things. But if nothing else, the community is the most important part of this podcast. And we're all over the daggone place, baby.
We are. All around the world. Yeah.
And Eric sings.
I do.
A lot, too.
A lot. I'm sure somebody's going to complain about that, too. They laugh and they sing too much.
I think that has been one of the more recent criticisms, that you sing too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got regular tips and bits.
We do.
For people. So, what do you guys have to recommend this week?
Oh, it hit me. It took me a while. I was thinking about it and looking it up on my phone while you were talking there.
He didn't listen to a word you said. He's been concentrating so hard.
Sometimes it's like that, Eric. Just gotta.
just be like that, like sometimes.
I did watch a really, really good documentary. I'm not even a big sports fan, but The Last Dance on Netflix.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Great.
It's really good.
Great.
It's really
I've actually not watched it yet. I still have not gotten around to it. But, I mean, everything that people say about it.
Yeah, I think Swan nailed it. You don't have to really be into sports to actually enjoy this.
You don't really have to be into bourbon to listen to This Is My Bourbon Podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
10-bit, roll it.
Well, and the funny thing is like, I found myself getting recommended either Reels, YouTube, whatever. Like, here's the clips from this documentary. And then as I was watching, I was like, I've seen it. I know I've seen this before. I'm sitting on my couch, like, having an epiphany. And I was like, oh, it's just a really good documentary and people have been stealing their content. Awesome.
That's how I feel with horror movies right now, because I'm going through a phase where I just am watching the classics that I never really got around to watching.
I've heard people talk about that.
I know what this is. I get this. Oh, wow, I get this now. Sorry.
Clicks.
It
but
does.
Watch it. It really is good. It drags on just a little bit towards the later episodes, but it is very good.
Nice. I like it.
Do they talk at all about MJ playing baseball?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, there you go.
Yeah, they do.
A very fun time in sports.
It goes through his whole career, like not all retirement, baseball, coming back, all of it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Eric.
Are we gonna do you want to do the Strangers review next week for Ended on Halloween?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. We'll do that.
Because I watched, I've seen a couple other spooky
I've seen
movies
some other stuff too
since last week, so we got enough to talk about.
Watched Smile last night. It's a horror movie right now. I would say it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's okay.
Just okay.
It's okay. I think there's a category that I've been like when I watch certain horror movies now that I give that's the preteen teen good scary movies. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I took Addison and her friends. They are 14, 15 years old, and Eli ended up going. He's 11, preteen.
Oh, so that was the needing to sleep in mama's bed post that you made today. Okay,
so
there we go.
This movie, Smile, is very jump scare focused. Something that I would say that like the first Strangers is very focused on.
Yep.
But we'll get into that later. But there's not like this big body count thing. It's very jump scare, kind of weird, scary movie that a 11 to 14-year-old would piss their pants at watching the whole time. Me, I'm enjoying the movie, but I'm having more fun watching them like kind of hide their eyes and stuff like that. I will say, probably one of the towards the end, the last scenes is one of the craziest looking things I've seen in a while, and they nailed it on the scale. Like crazy.
I was waiting for it. You took a while to get to you.
I was saying it. I didn't want to make anybody wreck. But I wanted to make sure they finished the episode. But yeah, I think Smile is good. I'm not going to say Smile is like revolutionary, but it's good. If you've ever watched It Follows, it has kind of the same premise, but in a different way.
Okay.
It follows kind of that same device, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So that I watched Bleach anime just started back after 10 years.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. I've already read this story because he wrote the whole story. The comics and the manga came out.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait. I've read it all, but now it's fun going back and watching it.
You're reading all the Dragon Ball Super manga too. I mean, and they're on a big hiatus before the next couple seasons come out. But I don't think that's. It doesn't like spoil anything.
No, because especially Bleach, because I've read it it's been so long that I'm trying to remember, like, oh, this part's going to happen. This part's going to happen. Like, it's awesome.
So what took so long for them to get to producing the next season?
The manga kind of drew out a little bit, so it took a while for that. And then just like, I don't know, it was like a studio thing. Like the studio didn't pick it back up and all that. And
right.
It was mainly, I think, the actual story took a little bit longer to finish after, because they put out the original anime up to that point really fast, and then he was still finishing that, so it just took a little extra time to do it. And then it kind of got put on the back burner. Then COVID, like, it originally was going to come out like 4 years ago. Then that happened, and all the studios shut down, the anime studios shut down and stuff like that, because they all work in these buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
So that, the new Bleach, that's great. And the last thing is there's another new anime, but this is the first season starting. It's called Chainsaw Man. And
have we talked about that recently? I feel like, or maybe I've just heard it from somebody else.
You.
I think so.
And mentioned that it started. Like, it just started. It's on Crunchyroll. It's also on Hulu. And it's a great anime to start if you're into just like kind of weird. It's basically like these monsters or demons are around, and these people have to go hunt and kill them. Well, this one kid is friends with one, and then he ends up getting kind of the power. So he's kind of like a hybrid thing. So he's like the Chainsaw Man, and like he goes and hunts these demons and monsters. And it just started. I've read a little bit of the manga. I know it's a great show, but it's cool if you just want to start an anime that's kind of weird, bloody, but has a great story, great soundtrack, great animation. So
I need to check that out then. You guys have both recommended things that I really want to watch and get into now. I watched 3 movies over the past week, and I will talk about them in most to least favorite. And I saw for the first time Halloween, the original, which was amazing and so much fun and wild. There was a lot of stuff that they got away with in the 70s that would take a little bit more to get away with now in the 2020s.
1979, I think, right?
78.
78?
Yeah. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis has looked exactly the same since she was like 19.
She's still hot.
Well, it's not.
What? She is.
That's not what I mean. I just mean like she looks like she has not aged.
No.
Since then. I mean, she still looks great. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a good movie, man. I can't wait to get into all the other ones except for the last 2 that have come out and everybody says have not been great.
So wait till you go back and you watch the ones between. Like when they did,
good.
It's a wild roller coaster with Halloween, baby.
Can't wait for that. Then Lucy and I watched Interview with the Vampire, which I had never seen before. That is one of the horniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say young Kirsten Dunst there, and
she's like 12 in that movie, my guy.
All I was saying is that's a young Kirsten Dunst, but then you said what you said, and I was like, that's probably not the best thing to say.
Not a good time to say that.
No.
What did I say? If that movie had been made now, Chris Hemsworth would have definitely been in the Brad Pitt role.
Oh yes,
100%. I know that everybody says, well, Tom Cruise was like the Robert Downey Jr. of the time. I don't feel like RDJ would have fit into that role that well, though.
No.
Maybe like 10 years ago, it would have been a little bit more fitting for him. And then like a Fanning being the Kirsten Dunst character, Elle or Dakota, one of the two. I don't know. Maybe Chloe Grace Moretz. I don't know. At that time, would have been kind of good. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I was just kind of middle of the road. Like, well, that's 2 hours I'm never going to get back. And I mean, there was a lot of like me making jokes about what was going on in the movie, and this just, it was something. But then also something else I saw today in theaters, and I kind of wish I had seen Smile or Terrifier 2 instead. But I went to go see Black Adam. And
the silence says it all.
Look.
Is your tip not to see this movie?
I would say
wait till streaming.
I would say wait until streaming. Yeah. There are a couple things in it that are really good and really cool, but the rest of the movie is just like The Rock filming a pre-wrestling match video. And it's not very good. It's really not very good. I have not seen a movie use the amount of slow-mo shots that they did since The Matrix.
Oh.
And this movie could have been about 15 to 20 minutes shorter for how many
much
slow-mo shots there were. I was baffled by it. And it looks really pretty. I mean, it's a really good-looking movie, but overall, it is a slog to get through. And it took me about, it's like a 2-hour movie. It took me about an hour before I actually laughed at any of the jokes that were told. I mean, everything else up until then was like, oh, you have got to be kidding me. Some of the wonkiest CGI I have ever seen in a movie, especially a superhero movie. I can't talk about too much else without getting into spoilers. But yeah, just wait until it's on streaming. Okay. But boy, howdy, is there a moment that I almost cried over. So it's probably already been spoiled for you, but let me just say, everything about it works. Everything about that moment just made me feel warm and tingly. So, anyway, I'm going to let you wrap up here in just a second, Eric. But I wanted to take a moment to be extra sentimental and say thank you to a bunch of people who have helped this show get to the point where it is now, and also to wax poetic, I suppose. I have to say, first and foremost, thank you to my wife, Lucy, for allowing me to take the time away to do as much as I have with this show over the past 5 years, and still be willing to support everything about it, because this has been a labor of love and time consuming and exhausting, but it has been one of the best things that I have ever ventured into. And I think that she sees that and appreciates that and understands that I kind of need this now. So thank you, Lucy, and I love you for allowing me to
Thanks, Lucy.
do all this. Papa Ritter, too. Dad and I actually recorded. I don't know if I've ever said this, but the first episode I actually recorded of the podcast wound up being episode 3, and it was with my dad. So he was kind of my guinea pig for figuring out how this show worked, and of course, it's changed a bunch over the years, but it is very much still in the spirit of things then. Speaking of that, Curtis and Tanner for being the original backbone and fabric and DNA of this show, and going back and listening to those first few episodes, I really feel like their spirit still kind of lives on throughout this show, which is a weird thing to say about somebody who has moved on from a project like this, but it is not. This show is not as different as some people may think from the way it was back then. Chad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night for always kind of being in my corner and being there when I needed, to fill some space in those early days. Will and Grease for being my big my big brothers in the podcasting space. John Edwards from Dad's Drinking Bourbon for being the first person in this game to give me any kind of feedback that made me feel like I was on the right track. That is something that I think of almost daily in all of this. Kenny and Ryan from Bourbon Pursuit for being the first ones to tell me that I made it. Fred Minnick for being the mentor that I never really thought I needed until he kind of came along. The guests that have come and gone throughout the past 5 years, whether it's my father-in-law or the Carters or Dixon or I can't even name all of them. But it's just been such a fun time getting to meet new people and to chat with them. And I think I've hit the almost end of the road, but you guys, the listeners, for being a part of this too, and for allowing us to be a part of your life, and for making the choice to listen to and enjoy what we do on a weekly basis. And then you two guys as well. I'm only as good as the support that I have behind me, and the both of you have been such amazing, encouraging, patient partners in all of this. And I don't know if I can ever express that love and that appreciation that I have for you guys more. But this is my Bourbon Podcast is what it is now because of the both of you all. And just very, very thankful. Very, very thankful for you guys. 5 years is a long time to be doing any one thing, but it's a good one. It's been a good 5 years, and y'all have you've helped me a lot. You've helped me a lot, and I think that speaks for itself. But thank you both.
Thank you. Make me get all
getting all teary-eyed over here, man.
I ain't supposed to be that way.
I'm sorry.
I ain't supposed to be that way, I guess.
You're the one supposed to be talking about foreskin and whatnot.
Well, that's me. Right
we can
there,
do both.
baby.
We're multifaceted. You know how it is.
Yeah.
That's me, baby.
You got to compartmentalize or whatever. But, yeah. Man, this has been so much fun. I love you guys. This is just... I can't imagine my life without Tim Bibb. I don't know what else to say.
You don't have to.
Other than that. Yeah. So. Eric, do you want to bring us home?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to continue to
man, I don't have much else to say.
make Perry choke up and talk about skin, you can go over to patreon.com where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. And at $5, you get all the bonus content, all the extra stuff, all the uncut stuff, the stuff that we mentioned in the main episode that you don't understand unless you're on fucking Patreon. So that.
Let me talk about Patreon for a second too. I got an email the other day saying that we had a new patron, but when I went to go look to see if we had a new patron,
it wasn't trying to be sneaky
popping up. I don't know what happened here, but I got an email on Friday saying that Bill Robarge was a new patron at the $5 tier, but I didn't get that notification on Patreon. So, Bill, tell me, what are you doing, man? Did you meet Eric at a meat counter somewhere, or?
Oh, he definitely got threatened at a meat counter. That's the only way you join.
Had to have.
Yeah, I told him that Wisconsin isn't the only place that makes good cheese, and I told him that his choice of meat sucks because he was trying to just put cheese all over everything. I said, get some good beef and add a little bit of sprinkle on there.
So that's not the single best use of cheese.
No. Not to cover your meat. He was trying to take a tomahawk steak, prime tomahawk steak, and put cheese all over it because he said, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's got any taste. If it's got cheese on it, I love Wisconsin, so I like cheese. And I said, what the fuck are you doing, son? Get up on Patreon, get up on there, and I'll tell you how to make some meat with a little bit of cheese. Adds a little bit of flavor. You don't have to cover it all, you cheesehead mother. And he said, you know what? I'll go sign up.
I think he might have been already and something just glitched.
Well,
but anyway,
I'd like to believe that what Eric described is exactly what happened to a T. No differentiation.
Actually, Swan, you're probably right.
Yeah,
you're probably right. I'll give Eric the benefit of the doubt.
Cheesehead.
Yeah.
So yeah, patreon.com. Get on there. If you want to send us an email, you want to send us a message, you want to send us like something that you want us to review, you want to send us a sample, we'll send you an email.
Let us know your favorite moments.
I'm not going to put our fucking address on here right now. You're going to have to send us an email.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the email still.
Oh, this is mybourbonshop@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us your favorite moment over the past 5 years. I'm genuinely curious. Like there have been a lot of things that we've done since October of 2017. But let us freaking know, man.
Yeah,
let us know.
If you want to get some merch that says "This is my bourbon drinking shirt," "This is my bourbon podcast," you go to
Sundays are for bourbon.
Sundays are for bourbon. Jesus ain't looking at you when you're drinking all that bourbon on Sunday. Wear the shirt.
That's exactly how he covers his eyes.
Yeah,
too.
he does it like this. Like that. Bourbonshop.threadless.com.
I can't see you.
Yeah. If you want a Whiskey Mutant shirt, you can go to whiskeymutant.myshopify.com. Get you a Whiskey Mutant shirt. If you want to leave us a Barrel Rings, which is a voicemail, which I think we have a special one this week.
Yeah, it should have actually already come out. It is what I've been calling a brief history of Timbip.
Yeah,
so if you're a little bit behind, this is a good way for you to get caught up via our dear friend and Timbip historian Todd Cooper helped us recount the many long days and fruitful nights of this My Bourbon podcast. But so that should be out now.
If you want to leave the voicemail, and we'll play it on the air, and you'll get to be on a podcast. This is your easiest way. 859-428-8253. Leave a voicemail. We'll play it. We'll reply to it. You'll be like the fourth co-host or seventh or something like that.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah. If you want to follow us on all social media, it's at My Bourbon Pod. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If you want to follow me, it's at Whiskey Mutant. If you want to follow Perry on his personal stuff, see them little pictures, that little baby, that little 2-year-old, go to PRaider1792. And if you want to follow Swan himself, it's at Swan TBF. He's only exclusive to Finding Bourbon right now, so don't even message him. But you can go like his post. And if you're really good friends with him, he'll send you reels that you can wake up to and laugh a lot and almost poop on yourself, because that's what he does to me. If you want to watch the show on YouTube, This is My Bourbon Podcast on YouTube. You can watch us right now as we are looking at you in the camera. And then Perry goes live every Thursday night at 8. He has guests. He drinks a lot of old fashions. Sometimes he gets sick and he doesn't show up on there. But he'll let you know if he's not going to be live. That's the thing. Yeah. He always is communicating with you. And then leave a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star review. We'll read it. We don't care.
Hopefully 5.
Read a 5. If you leave a 1-star review, I'll probably cuss you out. Because you're a little bitch. But leave a 5-star review. Oh, man. And then just tell everybody about us. Tell your friends.
Do you want me to read my favorite review over the past 5 years?
Yes, we're going to end that with that. After you tell your friends, Perry's going to read a review, his favorite review ever.
This is a 1-star review from August 30th of 2018.
2018, okay.
Extended Bros phone call. If a rambling 90-minute pointless conversation is a genre, then this is it. It's like two bros rambling in a pointless conversation. I found it a waste of time, not entertaining, and poor audio quality. Much better choices such as Bourbon Pursuit, Dad's Drinking Bourbon, and Sip Suds and Smokes. Sip Suds and Smokes doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think.
Sip Suds and Smokes. Is this something that you're drinking and washing your car at the same time? You son of a bitch.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But, I know that I already awarded the You're the Best trophy earlier to Kentucky Owl, but I figured I had to give it to the listener this week as well.
Oh yeah, what was that guy's name? The Broski?
That was Spotted Turkey.
Spotted Turkey. Okay. Yeah, Spotted Turkey. Yeah. What is Spotted Turkey? Was he spotted? Is it a turkey with spots? Swan, what is a spotted turkey? You're of the bird
the fowl
family,
variety.
The fowl variety. What is that?
Turkey that got caught, man. He got spotted.
Exactly. Motherfucker got caught, and he was just trying to take all his anger out on the podcast.
You know what
He's
I say
probably
to,
not even around anymore.
You know what I say to Spotted Turkey? You're the crap. Worst. You're the worst turkey, Spotted Turkey. I hope you're still listening, you son of a. I just hope you're listening and you're laughing and you're going, you know what? I actually like them, but I'm just being a turd. Worst Spotted Turkey. You're the worst. I like this new trophy thing that I've introduced.
Yeah, I do too. Especially when Spotted Turkey gets called out.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we need to get out of here because
go hide Jimmy's leg.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week, and it is a good way for us to kick off 5 more years of this show. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for supporting this show. Thank you for being a part of it and just choosing to listen and to engage. And thank you. We'll see you next week, though. Until then. Until them? Until them. Until them. I am Perry.
I am Swan.
I'm not fucking Spotted Turkey. I'm the Whiskey Mutant Eric, and we're doing this forever.
Yep.
Damn it, baby.
Yeah, we are. Forever and ever and ever. And this is my Bourbon Podcast.